Welcome to Storm King's Thunder, where me and a bunch of my nerdy-ass friends get together and we play Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons.
Dungeons and Dragons?
Tonight we are entering session 19? Ninth goddamn teen of our campaign. Wow. That's insane.
Nightstone 19.
Yeah, there we go. That's the legal drinking age of Nightstone. I will inform 285 promptly. Where we last left off, our party, after fending off the Hill Giants that were attacking their town with goblins and hobgoblins and ogres in tow, they managed to repel the attackers and spend some much-needed time getting some R&R before setting out on the Westwind Wyvern to seek out the den of the Hill Giants that they knew as Grudd Haug. After searching for 2 days from the skies, and they discovered, I believe Tali discovered, an unusual landmass, a dam that seemed to be supporting an immense house. On one side, of course, a river and several smaller streams coming through, but on the other side, an actual lake. And it proved to be a rather sophisticated structure, much more than you thought that giants would be capable of. Upon approaching, you were spotted. Not Tali, but the rest of you were spotted by a hill giant who was keeping watch and snuck away to tell you that he wanted to assist you and that he knew a way that he could even the odds. He said that if you would allow him somewhere to stay, as well as his wife, that he would join you. And not only that, tell you where 2 prisoners were hidden that would surely take up arms alongside you. He also led the orcs on the southern end of the base away, telling them that Guh had a mission for them in the woods and that they were to patrol and come back with food, and seemed to have gotten rid of them for the time being. You guys proceeded inside, where you found 2 sleeping hill giants within the barracks, and each of these pillows around them just being stuffed with loot, coins, odd items, just various things that they had plundered and considered theirs. You also saw another sleeping quarter, private, with 2 boars caged inside, and upon rounding the corner, discovered a massive cavern filled with over 100 pigs, as well as several bugbears and an etin that were keeping watch. After a war of attrition between the 2 parties, you discovered the prisoners on the north side, a small family of farmers, a husband, a wife, and a daughter, as well as 2 rather interesting characters. A tree ghost Uthgardt barbarian named Tyri, as well as Ghalvan, a green-skinned dragonborn who seemed to use some type of telekinesis to pull a bow toward him, before you guys managed to sneak past the giants that you had woken up. As they stumbled into the cavern, you used the swarming bodies of the pigs, as well as some rations, to narrowly make your way around the room and to escape out through the cavern that you came in. And with that, my dudes, we're going to go ahead and pick up with tonight's session. All right.
Cue the song.
Speaking of songs, one of you want to pop something in chat for background noise? As you have your new prisoners in tow and come around the corner to the 3 sleeping quarters, what is the plan, my lords?
I know what Goldburn wants to do. I know what Davin wants to do.
Some stuff.
I mean, those Nazmites be our chance to raid their pillowcases.
Oh, yeah. Tally's about it. I think we should scoot our human, or not human, whoever we've rescued, I think it should kind of like be between us, yeah?
I thought we tried to send them out of the cave.
You hadn't got quite that far yet. You guys are still with them. You had just made it out of the act. You sent them to the... Oh, whoops. I didn't mean to hide that. You sent them just to the mouth of the tunnel. You didn't send them outside of the cave yet. Fred boat.
So, if that's only very short, will it loop continuously?
You have to put loop in as the next command.
Indeed. Will do.
Way to pick super unnerving shit, Devin. Jesus.
We're we're in an unnerving situation. Fight me.
Says the guy wanting to raid the fucking loot. All right.
I mean, something brave. I don't know.
Something Dimitri the Brave. All right, you guys come around the corner with the prisoners in tow and arrive to the room where the Hill Giants were originally sleeping. How do you want to go about doing this? Do you want someone to keep watch? Do you want to go ahead and have someone escort the prisoners out? Do you want the prisoners to stay here? What's your plan?
I mean, basically sees the doors. I might just send them out. Well, I feel like it's out of Bergen's character to just send them out the door. I think Bergen might escort them to the door. I don't know how far Bergen would. I just feel like he wouldn't let them go by themselves.
Roll a perception check for Bergen, whoever is running him tonight. Who is it? I think that's...
I can do it.
Bless you. And then Devin, you'll be Zat for me.
Zatari, yeah.
And
I think Zatari would. Zatari heard them last time, so Zatari can keep watch.
And you'll have a couple of things today too. In fact, I'll go ahead and send these to you. Here we go. Don't say anything until their things are used. But, Davos, I'm going to drop you the stat blocks for these two people. I showed you guys pictures of these two, yeah?
Let's find out.
And I'm running these guys?
Yeah, you'll be running those when we get to combat. Yeah, it's in the main
I see
chat.
their tokens.
Yeah. Again, Tyri, dark-haired, has this unusual war paint that you both, Tali and Ghalvan, recognize as the Tree Ghost tribe who dwelled deep within the High Forest and had conflicts with both of your tribes in the past. Ghalvan, the Dragonborn, rather unkempt, tattered loincloth, doesn't have a quiver, just holding the bow itself. Muscular and scarred, but a little hunched in a way. Looks almost more similar to a lizard folk than a dragonborn. All right, my dudes. Are y'all just gonna start raiding pillowcases? Or did you roll for Goldbrand or Bergen? Excuse me.
Can I move him?
Sorry,
Yes, I
that was
can.
a
Perception check. He's basically
Perception.
popping his head out the front of the cavern to take a look around.
Zat wants to
24,
set
very
up.
solid. He gives a look around and he determines that the main entryway around the sheep seems to be clear. The palisade is a 10-foot palisade, and he says he can't guarantee if the orcs are in the woods or anything. And the family is very anxious. They're please, we have nowhere to go. They burned our farm down. I don't know where to take my family. I can't just. I mean, the next town is days away at least. I don't know where we'll make it. He's sort of beseeching all of you who are there.
Do we have any way to contact the West Wind Wyvern?
You do not. Bergen will say, "Well, we do have those talking stones, but I mean, we have both of them here. Might not be a bad idea to leave one with someone in the future.
Yeah.
We could just tell them they're with us. Yeah, if they know our names, surely that's good enough for the crew of the Wyvern. Yeah.
If the Wyvern
Maybe.
even, I'm assuming the Wyvern's not on the ground anymore. But that's
No, it's
assuming.
no, yeah, they're waiting for you to return. They're not gonna, abandon you, quote unquote. They are a distance away. They parked. They landed probably a couple miles, I'd say, to the east, closer to the high forest than the actual base is to not be spotted by the tower. But
I feel like Bergen could give them directions to where it is and tell them that they can be ferried to Nightstone.
Nightstone. Oh, all right. Come along, Genevieve. And he takes his wife and his daughter, and they sort of anxiously look out. And Bergen actually follows them out to the edge of the palisade, and remembering that the orcs headed in the southern direction, tells them that they should be safe in the eastern direction, and they take off that way. While Bergen is out there, he does spot with the 24 Herk, the hill giant ally that you made up on the hill, who sort of looks at you and gives like a very rough OK symbol with this very thick fingers. Bergen sneaks back in and tells you that they should be well on their way.
Sorry, I'm picturing Bergen sneaking. Clink, clank, clink, clank.
Yeah. He doesn't have disadvantage to
Zat,
sneak, but it's rough.
yeah. Zat wants to post up right here. Maybe even if he's got to a little farther, he doesn't want to look into this area. He wants to be able to listen, and like if he hears a reason, he will look.
Mhm.
Other than that, he's going to depend on sound more so than he's not going to stick his head out unless he thinks he hears a sound worth sticking his head out over.
Gotcha. Since he's just listening, I'm not going to reveal any more of the map, but he still hears. It's make a perception check for Zatari.
Gross.
11. It's hard to say. The pigs are squealing. You hear the giants grunting, but it's very difficult to make out with all the noise. They don't sound like he doesn't feel like the earth rumble. He doesn't feel them approaching in that sense. So he thinks that you're fine for now, but he doesn't know how much of a notice he can give you.
Now's our chances, friends. Goldbrand's going to start trying to pilfer pillowcases.
Okay.
We'll also begin pilfering.
Same.
Tyri and Ghalvan sort of sneer. Not sneer, but they seem impatient.
That's funny. I was going to tell them to keep guard.
They seem a little impatient. Why don't the three of you roll a we'll just do a general dexterity check. No modifier. We'll see how long this takes you.
Dexterity. Fuck
Now one
Goldbrand.
from Davos coming in.
What?
I'm kidding. There we go. That a boy. All right. Wow, that's the lowest I think I've ever seen Tali roll. So it doesn't take you guys too long. About, I would say, 20 minutes. You manage to using the haversack, just pushing everything in these everything into these bags that you possibly can. You do get a pretty penny out of this. I'm going to put it in chat. You also find an assortment of food in varying states of freshness. Some of it, still seems edible, but some of it seems like leftovers that were long forgotten and are just disgusting. You find repurposed items. Like you see a helm that was being used as a bowl. You see a hand axe that was used as a chopping knife. A half-empty cask of ale. You find a saddle, an iron bell with no clapper. Just an unusual mismatch of trophies and things that they seem to find other uses for. Bloop. Let me drop this into the bag of holding for later.
Keeps an eyes out, you twos, Goldbrand says to the people we just freed.
You don't have to worry about us. I'm fairly sharp. They won't, they merely outran me last time. I'll keep an eye on the southern tunnel. And Ghalvan, I will assist her. These two wander down this way. About 20 to 30 minutes go by, and Zatari says, roll another perception check for him, because with a 10, he's not going to hear too much.
I'm working on it. Gotta find it.
Zatari, 16. That's better. He hears a third voice join in. It is also speaking in Giant. Seems to be speaking in similar tones.
He speaks Giant.
He does, but again, with the pigs and everything, it's hard to make out the actual dialogue being spoken. He just hears another voice different than the first two. And you guys are, since it's been a week, I'll refresh your memory that you knew there was a butcher that also resided down here that slaughtered.
Yeah.
And Zatari tells you it seems like they're going. He like braces you like it sounds like they're getting close, and then like, oh, never mind. It sounds like they're going away again.
Oh.
Ominous.
Now we have to shine these. We need to decide the best ways to get upstairs. That if they, I don't know if they went away, that might peak.
How do we get down in the first place?
We come in through this door right here.
Yeah, but he's talking about how you got down from the upper level. Where this, it's a little confusing, but you see, like, right next to this first trough here, there's a little bit of a trail that fades. That connects to the trail that leads up to
there.
the upper level.
Yeah, I gotcha.
They should have put that on both ends, but whatever.
But I could see it, yeah. It's subtle. Not this. Why not the same way we went back up? I mean,
So our friends might let this pass right through.
yeah, and you did say that these two might help us. Look over to our NPC friends. Have we filled them in yet on what the reason for us being here?
Oh.
I don't think you did. You told them, you asked them if they wanted to fight or if they wanted to flee, and they both said that they wanted to fight.
All right, well, that's reason enough already.
But-
We're good.
Yeah. Ghalvan will say.
Everyone knows this. The ghost likes to run from things.
She sneers at you. Only when they're 3 times my size. I wouldn't
No
run from
excuses.
other children. And she sort of glares you down. And she's not a Goliath. She is a human, but she's and you've had a fair bit of run-ins. They're the other tribe that occupy the high forest, so you've had many encounters with this tribe. Not her specifically, or that you know of anyway. But there's not necessarily good blood between your people.
Shots fired.
Zatari goes, no, the safety's on. We're good. Like he would have a safety.
Right. Is there
No,
like
I
an
agree with Tali.
anti-jam? Is there an anti-jam button? Because you need one of those, I think, more.
Is there a stay the fuck up when something hits you button that you can click somewhere?
It was a giant, bro. Give me a break.
He did also almost single-handedly kills the ones in Golden Fields, so he's kind of got some ones ups on use already.
I think
Yeah.
I blasted a couple. Just because y'all were in the area helping out a little bit doesn't mean that I didn't, blow a couple of heads off.
I did increase my Constitution modifier for the record, though. So
Oh, more solid
We
Oh,
will
oh,
see.
sweet. That's a no. Yeah, when you get that's a big bump in hit points. So GG, dude.
Wait, are we 7 now, or is that going to be
You're
after
7
this
now.
encounter?
Yeah.
Oh,
So if you
fuck.
haven't already, go ahead and do that.
Oh, I got to do that.
yeah, that's why I was a little quiet.
As you guys are talking, Tyri hushes you and backs up a little bit from the cavern as you see the 3 giants have begun to make their way into this camp here. And you do see one wearing a rough leather robe covered in blood and gore. And he wields a butcher's axe on one side that you realize was a great axe for a normal-sized human. He has just repurposed.
Hey, I was kind of joking about let's see if I'll stand this time.
Let's see, motherfucker. Meet the butcher. No. How do you?
I mean,
gotta think
Oh.
quick, boys.
So Gobran will gesture for everyone to kind of back up into this area.
Can't we,
He wants
whisper and sneak around? Wasn't there another entrance on the other side?
Correct, Davos. You will remember
Yes.
that, and you do obviously that there is an entrance on the far eastern side of the cavern. I'll say you're discussing this before you actually start the full retreat. If that makes it any easier.
Yeah.
Um,
Because I was going to say is that there are ways to get up through the floors to the next levels. If we have ways, I'm whispering obviously, to climbs.
the giants.
'Cause you
begin
said
to
there
move
are-
further into the camp.
10-foot holes in the ceiling, right?
There are 10-foot holes in the ceiling, about 30 feet up.
Let's see.
So that's a pretty good height. I'm pretty sure it's 30 feet. I'll double check, but
Okay. Gobran doesn't have a way to get anybody up there, so he's totally down for using that other entrance that Davos mentioned.
yeah, 30 feet high.
As opposed to what, climbing?
Yeah, I don't. That's the thing. Like Gobran doesn't have a way to help anybody, including himself, actually get up, because there's no post, right, Joey? It's just a 10-foot hole. In the ceiling.
There are support beams, and there is one that is somewhat close to one of them. Now that the Hill Giants have left, I'll reveal this just for tactical purposes.
Is that a dex check? Acrobatics?
Climbing is technically athletics.
Athletics.
Yeah, I gotta haul that bard booty all over the place. Up the wall.
Yeah, I do.
Of course, it can be whatever Joey wants it to be.
There
If
is
I'm gonna be the only one.
There is one that is close to a spire, but it's still, it's 10 feet away, give or take. Remember, because these are 10-foot squares, so it's pretty good
I
distance.
think it's best if we stick together.
Yeah, I think it's best if we take the exits that you've remembered.
And, Ghalvan will go, I think it's best if we go now. And begins to, like, make his way through the cavern. Tyri close
I'll
behind.
kind of stay behind, moving my way to the rear of the line, keeping a lookout.
Sweet,
while
sweet.
they-
See, there's your goals. Runsings again. Likes the ghost thus.
How's not
She
Ghalvan
turns
is also
like
following.
you say this like as you're walking after her, and like as you turn to look away from Davos and forward, she's like stopped and turned face to you, and she's like, "We could settle this here. We can have a bloodletting if you so wish, but I would choose us both make it out today to have our challenge another."
I'm
What if
much
we,
more likely to survive the giants outside, so let's just keep going.
She damn right, and turns. You guys make your
Ghalvan's gonna
way
take that
out
as a
through the
win.
eastern exit, and you're now on there's a cliffside up to get back to the forest, but knowing the way around, you guys manage to hug the cliff, not seeing the orcs, not seeing the giants. They're still within the palisade. You still hear again some of the talking. Now that they're outside, there is the bleating of sheep that is sort of covering up, but you pick up bits and pieces of it. Basically they're trying to figure out where the Etten is, where they say his name, Oinker Boinker, which I think is the worst name that D&D has ever put in an actual book. Oinker Boinker. Sounds like since they're two heads, I think it's Oinker and Boinker.
It is Oinker,
But it makes them sound like they're pig fuckers, and I just don't like that. So,
boink with the club. Boink.
yeah, but
I remember when I boinked that
Wink.
oink back in night.
oh Jesus Christ. Anywho,
Oh boy.
you make your way up and you see your friend Herk, who sees the giants outside, and he sort of like looks over the cliff and gives you a raised hand, and when they begin to wander back inside, he waves you over and allows you to get up to the front entrance. All right, you get everything you need. I see you got them. I see you got the prisoners. Are you all ready to do this?
Ghalvan slings his axe.
No.
Before we do, did we ever take like a short rest or a long rest?
You did not.
How's everybody's health? How's Bergen's health? Bergen
was
pretty
at
fucked up, if I
24.
remember.
Zatari,
So
I didn't have a thing marked, so he probably never got hit. He's in the back line.
yeah, he didn't get hit. So
What's his
Ghalvan
max?
wasn't. His max is 52.
Bergen, we leveled up too, so I don't know if we leveled up Bergen.
Yeah, so Zatari's not leveled up. He
That's
would
fair.
have
fair.
another, so many.
I haven't
I'd
touched
say,
it.
don't worry about the spells, but
Devin,
at
roll a
least the health.
d10, and Tali, roll a d8 for me.
You get a fighter hit dice?
Zatari's a fighter. Gunslinger's a
Yeah,
fighter
so
class,
that's-
my dude.
Plus +2, so that's 8 total.
Plus 8. So what's his new total? And I'll
Oh,
update
I'm
the
sorry.
character
Hold
sheets
on.
later.
5,
Plus
6.
7?
That's 7. That's 7.
Wow.
I see my 5. So he gets +7. So that's 59. I saw the 1d8 and the 6 and thought that was my roll. Ghalvan was
what's-
not bloodied until he took another level, and now he is bloodied.
Goldbrand was
'Cause
not,
my-
but then he took another
My
level.
my max hit points went up so much it made me bloodied.
Oh, I see. Because you don't technically gain the hit
Yeah.
points. Okay, I see. What was Bergen's con mod?
2, I think he said, or
2?
3.
Okay, so that's plus 8.
I'll look. Tally, you got that?
Sorry.
What was Bergen's
Bergen's
con mod
con
so
mod?
we can figure up his new head?
Bergen's con mod is 2.
2. Okay.
So he's 8. He got 8.
Bless. For the cleric. All right.
Okay.
He looks you guys over and sees that you're not in great shape.
Say, can he take 10 minutes to sing a song? Say a prayer?
Me?
He can.
I can
He-
do
if
both
you
of
ask-
those things.
If you. If you say that
I guess
to
it's a prayer.
if you say that to Herk, he will say, "All right, but don't be doing it here. Go further down." You guys make your way back to the woods a bit. Probably about couple 100 yards off, far enough to where you can still sort of see the entryway, but not close enough to where, anything coming out might see you. I'm gonna move him so I can fucking select you guys. There we go. I'll go down.
How many dice would that be?
Well, yeah. Is
It's
this
as
a
many as
short
you
rest
want.
or
This is a short rest.
this?
Oh,
a
I'm
short
sorry.
Rest?
Are y'all wanting to do a short rest, or you wanting just to do a prayer of healing? Because it's an hour for a short rest.
I would like to do both if we can, but if we only want to take 10 minutes, Bergen can drop some healing on all of us, and we can just go.
To be fair, Bergen can save a
let's-
spell slot if you're doing a short rest, because you could probably
short
get
rest,
get
yeah.
everything back you need.
Yeah, I'd up for that.
Okay. So go ahead and take a short rest. Everybody get your you can roll as many hit die as you have levels. If you're multi-class, you get hit die per class, so don't roll, affect a ton of 1 if you are. While you guys are doing this, there's a little bit of conversation that happens. Let me scroll down.
Goldbrand feels much better.
While you guys are
There's
taking your breath.
No way. Oh, that's 1d8. I need to roll another.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
If you guys will also roll for Zad, I guess is full, but if you'll roll for Bergen as well, my dude. While you guys are doing this and taking your rest, Ghalvan takes the bow and he turns to one of the trees and he pulls his hand up to the string. And as he pulls back, you see a glimmer of green energy as he conjures an arrow. Now, anybody who wants to can make I'll say either an Arcana or a Religion check. Arcana or Religion.
These tricks for a wizard, for lizards.
All right. Taliband, you recognize this immediately. It seems very similar to your Kai Karim. Different shape, different color, a greenish, almost noxious texture. Less sharp and refined and violet than your knives, but seems of the same energy. And you watch as he fires off a few arrows into a few different trees. And when they strike, they stay there for a moment before flickering out of existence. Also like your knives. And there is no wound left in the bark of the tree. It continues this for 20 minutes or so of your rest.
It looks like it has a +8 to hit and +3 psychic damage. If I just had to guess.
How do our companions look?
I'm sorry, that was pretty fucking funny. What was that, Devin?
You gave it
How do our companions look?
like full health.
Like health-wise?
Yeah.
I mean, they're a little malnourished, but they don't seem to have any obvious
Uh,
injuries.
Alright.
I will say
So-
they don't have as many hit points as any of you. I don't
Yeah.
believe. Well, that's not necessarily true. Tyri's pretty stout, but yeah. Tyri also, well, after that happens, later in the rest, she will approach you, Goldbrand, and ask, "You're the one who led your people from the trees, aren't you?"
I am. My name's is Goldbrand.
I thought so. I saw the markings on your fist of the first claw. We skirmished once, many years ago within the trees. I think when you had first earned those.
You had done well as to survive. That's times I was thirsties for deaths.
Many were.
He's
I
thirsty
was-
in other ways too.
Oh, just wait. I
Yeah,
have a
Waggle's
quip
eyebrow.
prepared. I have a quip prepared.
I was uncertain when I saw you in the prison if you were to free me or to leave me. Uthgardt witnessed your character today. That you chose to help a rival tribe.
As I'm sure as you could be as aware, these are not times for the tribes to be. There's always wars amongst themselves, but now is not the times for petty killings. Giant stampedes across the lands.
And
When that matter is settled. We can go back to killing each other's.
She laughs a bit. Giants are stampeding the lands and making off with our relics. Tell me, Blue Bear, is your stand whole?
No.
She sort of...
Wells. Undefined. The Giants have not taken anything from it.
Do you mean to imply that someone else has?
Points to his axe. I got this from theirs. Got.
She looks at it and if you unsheath it, like runs her head across the dark stone of the blade that you know to be meteorite, and she lets sort of a low whistle out. That is an excellent addition to your armory, but not what I was referring to. The Giants for months have been unearthing what Uthgardt planted eons ago to defend this land. The Giants seek to use them to gain wisdom from their god by some means. But what they don't realize is Uthgardt planted those there for a reason. It was not to rid the land of Faerun of giants, but to keep something back across the plains.
I don't know anything about stats. 11 on that deception check.
Give me just a second.
And he knows he's not a good liar. He doesn't particularly care.
She rolled a nat 12, and while perception isn't her strong suit, or insight isn't her strong suit, she's a positive in it, so.
Right.
She squints her eyes and, do not speak in half-truths, Blue Bear.
We opened up a portal.
If Davos says
portal
that,
to
Gobran
what?
looks at it. If Gobran's like, motherfucker.
Did you go in it? Did something come out of it?
No, there was no portals. We took one of the things that Uthgardt's planted. It was needed to preserve the paths. It's not going to expand any on that.
Devin, roll a deception check.
What?
You said that there was no portal. You have
There was no portal.
sealed a portal from another realm, another plane. Of
Oh,
existence.
but there was no portal at the thing. At
If he
the stone
fails.
stand.
She shakes her head. Or do you? Well, okay. Let's have you roll for it first. Tyri, seeing through all your bullshit. Come on. Oh, that's better.
Ooh,
That's
That's a
20.
nat 20, technically.
All right, so she needs a nat 20 or at least a 19 to beat you. Oh, she got an 18. I'm sorry, I've got to look at her actual stat block because if she has a +2, then that's fair.
I don't show her perception.
Wait.
From what you sent me.
No, yeah, it wasn't part of the stat block I sent you, but I'm gonna look for the creature she's based on.
It's just her intelligence, isn't it? She doesn't have proficiency in it.
But yeah, but I don't know. I didn't write down her intelligence score.
But I thought you meant a portal at Stone Stand. There was no portal at Stone Stand.
No, there wasn't. And if picking up on that, there's some inflection in the way you say it that she. That is good. While the stands are protected, they protect large areas of land around them. I have heard that many of the stands have been raided, and if so, other areas of the country might be vulnerable.
I was about to say, Devin just clicked something together, but I don't know if Gobran would.
You can roll. Anybody who wants to can roll. I want to say just a general investigation check. We'll call it.
Gobran's not good at that.
Neither am I.
Got 3.
Yeah, I give it a shot, Tali.
Tali, you pick up this almost immediately that the Fey portal that you sealed was not terribly far away from where the Elk tribe, Uthgardt, had told you her stand once had been, but had been raided. You're getting the idea that these artifacts, these relics of Astoria, were used to prevent the Fey from popping up within the territory of the Uthgardt. And you realize through your conversations with Goldbrand and some of the various other tribe members that many of these stands have been raided. More than not that you have heard of in recent times. Or more stands have been raided. You know more of the stands you know of, most of them have been raided. Words.
What was our friend's question again? What was she asking about the portals?
Well, she asked Goldbrand,
If I had taken something from Stone Stand,
yeah.
which I lied about, and she realized I was lying. And then
Sabo
said something about a portal.
No, she didn't, because that was your nat 20 deception check. She didn't pick up that you were lying on that you took something else. She picked up that you weren't being entirely forthcoming, but she didn't get the whole kit and caboodle.
Let's see. Well,
she sort of leans into you and says in Bothy. She's been speaking in common, but she swaps as she sort of approaches. To be honest, I do not know if this dragon board has some connections to the Fae, but his powers are unusual. And I often see him staring into the distance, as if speaking or listening to something that isn't there. I would keep an eye on him.
Goldbrand looks at the Dragonborn, does his best not to look at Tali, takes a big swig of forest water. He says, we have, I guess in Balthy, says we have to hopes that the mortals that works with the powers of the fairies has the best interest in hearts for mortals. He might have been sus of Tali, but Tali's earned his trust, so he's gonna... I will do as you ask. He'll add on. But just because his powers comes from the bad source does not make him bad.
She sort of squints at you for a second. And you see something sort of click in her eyes. She goes, I do remember you. You're more than just First Claw to your people. You have read the stars, have you not, brother?
More than a handfuls of times.
And tell me, where do our people lie in the path of your stars?
Your peoples?
She seems to be referring to Uthgardt barbarians in general. Not just her tribe or your tribe, but just as a whole.
If I have my ways, the peoples of Uthgardt will persist.
She gives sort of an approving nod. I will say you are more optimistic than our Starkeeper. And she turns and, using the maul that you had given to her, begins to crack a few of the boulders by the edge of the lake, seemingly shaking off the rest of her imprisonment.
As he's leaving the area of conversation, Goldbrand will say, and if yous persist through this fights, I might welcome yous into my beds, and he'll just continue to walk off.
Are you trying to be sneaky about that, or are you just trying to, like...
No, he's gonna say it as he walks by.
Roll a charisma check for me. We're just for shits and giggles. Let's just see how this...
not charismatic.
I'll give you advantage.
It's less about actually getting it and more about
just
being a shit.
Yeah. I just want to see how it's received. She sort of barks a laugh and goes, I will admit you do have a striking stature about yourself, but not quite my type. Let's just say I like them.
Statues words don't understand.
Nothing personal, just like something with hair I can grip onto. And she gives a wink
hair.
sort of as she goes.
That was one of those bard things.
You know what? Roll a charisma check. We're just gonna. Not with advantage.
I wonder how that's gonna go.
Let's just see.
I don't know. I thought that was inspiration worthy.
Let's see how it goes.
I think I still
He saw his chance.
She takes a couple steps towards you, And she's, she is still an Uthgardt barbarian. She's pretty tall. Not as tall as
6'1",
Goldbrand.
6'2".
About to say, she's
like...
about that 6 foot mark, and you're about that point too. So she's not like towering over you, but she meets you eye to eye, which is almost a little imposing for you. I mean, your girlfriend Helena was not,
she's
near
probably
this rough.
like thick.
Yeah, strong.
It's by snoo.
Snoo. She sort of runs her fingers through your pompadour and just goes, that is about right, and gives you a little pop on the cheek. Take 1 point of bludgeoning damage, and we'll continue. Oh, don't take the damage.
Davos has a
Just shit.
pompadour?
It does hurt. Like her hands are calloused and rough, and even more from being imprisoned. She has not had her Noxima in quite some time. Her skin rough. With that, we'll wrap up this rest unless any of you want to ask anything of your two new guests. New allies.
I do want to hear whatever quip Davos had for Goldbrand.
I was just, she pulls my hair back, I just kind of wink at him as I'm like,
Fair.
Davos is like, you can't have them all.
Goldbrand stomps off and sharpens his axe on a rock.
What did you say, Tali?
what's his name?
Sorry, what was our dragon friend's name?
Ghalvan.
Ghalvan. If Ghalvan was, well, let's just say he was still shooting his bow, I would toss Karim as accurately as I could to try to Robin Hood one of his arrows, if you know.
So like knock his arrow away from, or like split his arrow.
To Robin Hood, to split his arrow.
Okay. Do me a favor. Roll to hit with your Karim, and Davos, roll to hit with his Sai arrow.
Let's see, it's +8 to hit, so...
Sai arrow. I wonder if... I'll talk to myself.
10.
10 total?
With his plus 8, yeah, I rolled a 2.
Damn, okay.
Did it not?
So,
Okay, it didn't.
you watch as the arrow cuts through, he takes his aim, and you just almost instantly, mathematically calculate where he's aiming for, and fire off Karim, and instead of Robin Hooding and piercing through it, you actually deflect it in midair. And you know that these arrows are not physical. The Karim is not a physical thing, and yet when they make contact, they split off into the woods in sort of a burst of green and purple energy. And he turns to you and he goes, I see you too are talented.
Yes, where did you acquire your talents?
Make a persuasion check. We'll say with advantage because you sort of freed him from prison. Okay. You see him a little conflicted. He goes, my gifts were given to me by a powerful force who prefers to work unseen. But given the look of those knives, if I had to guess, I would say you were a follower of the Cobalt Collector. Is this correct?
Did they go by any other names?
He sort of cocks his head a bit. To few. Zafuhiri.
Oh, that'd be the one.
Gives a nod.
What's this about collecting kobolds?
He sort of shrugs a bit. My patron had told me of her. The Cobalt Collector, he says, appears as a great blue serpent that coils its way through the earth. Reclusive, protective, possessive.
Isn't that what tried to kill us in the mountains?
I don't think so.
What tried to kill you within the mountain?
Oh, that was a blue dragon.
This was a dragon's friends.
This is not a dragon in the traditional sense. Imagine an enormous snake with scales like sapphires that coil down its entire length. Immense. I must admit I've never seen her, but if she is anything like mine own patron, who is of her same kin, that she is a fearsome creature, one you best be cautious with. Speaking to Tali.
Very well. And your patron, not to pry, but you said that they're like Zafuhiri? Or they are kin?
Kin of a kind. And he sort of looks over your group and sort of nods to Davos, the High Elf, and says, much in the ways that somewhere long up their family tree, you and the High Elf might be kin.
Hmm.
Not related
Understood.
directly, but of the same biological family.
Certainly.
Bastard child.
Yes, you can see we have one in our family as well.
Indeed. They can smell him from here. And apparently
You guys talking about
Davos is
me or
just...
that?
No one? Nothing? Zatari, like, cocks his gun real quick, like, safety's off, motherfucker. I tell you what. If you get me out of here alive, preferably with the fat one's head, we'll see, I'll be much more open to sharing information.
If you finish with your warm-ups, then we may be ready to do just that.
He grins, this toothy, razored grin, and just sort of eagerly holds up just the bow and sort of signaling that he has nothing else, and he's like, ready to go at the drop of a hat. Shall we?
Has anyone got a hat?
Does I guess Davos is. What kind of armor do you have on Davos?
Heavy, medium.
About to say, I think you're
Like,
split mail,
Heavy,
or
medium-ish.
I guess Bergen's the only one with heavy. Does anyone have heavy armor on? He bought plate mail or something, didn't he, Bergen?
Bergen does have heavy armor now, I think.
Well, heavy armor should have a helmet. Goldbrand reaches over, grabs Bergen's helmet, and like drops it.
I think that means we're ready to.
Ghalvan laughs, chuckles a bit. Bergen just like, the fuck, dude? And just like picks up his helmet, like dusts it off, like kind of gives you some side eye as he puts it back on.
The only thing that Goldbrand wants to know before we go is he wants to clock Tiora? How'd you say her name? The barbarian?
It's technically Tyri. I think I missed that earlier. Tyri. Tyri.
He just wants to try to see if she noticed when they did their thing, when Tali threw the knife and deflected the arrow.
Yeah, I won't even make you make a check for this. I would say these conversations are happening simultaneously. So so as you were wrapping up your conversation with her, the clang of the arrow and the knife happens, and she looks over and sort of picking up a little on what you said earlier about trusting the person, not where their power comes from, and sort of, seems a little pensive, but doesn't say anything. More.
Mostly wanted to see if she saw, but if he picks that up, that's fine. That's all I wanted to know.
Okay. You guys wrap up your rest, finish patching your wounds, feeling much better about the battle in the dam. The battle in the dam.
Battle.
The dam battle. Davos, I don't think you topped off your hit points.
I did, and then I lost one from the hair pull.
You fucker. All right, so 45.
Good way to lose
plus
hit points.
8 is 53.
As we're walking back up to
You-
the
you-
entrance, I asked Ghalvan,
You don't have to take the
Tyri
one
like
further.
like a thing, or like if that's your, it was just a joke.
He sort of coils back a bit, and goes, "No, we were captured separately. The only time we might have met would be on the dinner plate in front of the immense one."
She is a hefty snack. I mean, Hang on. Oh, you hear like almost a purr from the back of the group where Tyri is like tailing behind. Sort of a low laugh of approval, we'll call it. Good.
All right.
all right, no more awkward flirting.
With that, you guys pop back up, and as you approach the edge of the woods up the hill, Herk once more comes and sort of meets you halfway and goes, "All right, I can tell you a little bit about what we're gonna face in there if you're ready for it.
Tell us
Let's
everything.
hear it.
Well, inside, it's a large room. But before that, there's a room just to the left, and he points to the smaller curtain, just below the southern, just below the southern part of the entryway. It says, there's a few orcs in there. Not particularly meddlesome, but if we try to deal with them first, unless you can take them out right away, they're gonna be loud and alert everybody else. In the actual main chamber, it's gonna be, he counts on his fingers, 4 hill giants and 2 or 3 ogres, plus Grudd herself. But around could be hobgoblins, not necessarily in that room, but in the rooms around. Hobgoblins, wolves, biggins, perhaps even a bugbear or 2. But the bulk of the force will be within the main feasting hall. What's the plan?
Think we should try to
This is-
throw him out?
He sort of scratches his chin. "Oh, I don't know about that. If we put the whole place on alert, then they're liable to start coming up from downstairs, and not to mention the ones on the tower on the other side. He's a tough to say."
Because you handles all the orcs in the southern rooms. If we went ahead and started the battles in the feasting halls.
He nods his head and be like, I would be more than happy to teach a few of those ice shields a lesson. Not to mention that it's a little harder to fight my own kind. You understand? If you had to fight another, you're one of them barbarians. If you had to fight one of your kin, I'm sure you wouldn't be too eager for it, would you?
Cobalt snorts.
He
I'm like
shrugs. Herk
you're-
shrugs
you're
like,
saying you will?
I will if it
You
comes
will
to
fight
it.
the orcs?
I will, indeed. And I will fight my own kin if it comes to it, but,
Should we
not
wait till
excited
they're
for it.
sleeping or something?
Well, they usually sleep in shifts. There are a couple that were sleeping downstairs. I saw they came out the side door a little while ago. I'm glad you managed to sneak by undetected. Even if we were to catch a couple of them sleeping, there'd still be the same number of them up here. Plus, at some point, I'm gonna need to be one of the ones going to rest.
What if we leave all the small things for Zeus and the big things for us?
He sort of starts counting. A few orcs. The doggies are in cages. Don't know about the hobgoblin and the bugbears. I'll do my best, but I can't guarantee none of them is going to slip by me.
About they say ogres during that.
Mhm.
What's about Zeus twos? Asking the NPCs. Are Zeus prepared to fight with the giants?
They both shake their heads, and Tyri will say, "No, yeah, I've been eager to get revenge. I haven't been in that
Have to
cage
get to
long,
our
but
bard's
longer than
pants.
any of." I'm sorry, what?
Nothing.
Trashy bard.
Not important.
Should be a barbarian in this campaign. You're trying to seduce all the NPCs. She says, I am eager to get payback for them locking me away. I haven't been here long, but too long for any of our kind to be pinned up. Then Ghalvan nods his head similarly, and it will be nice to redeem myself in the eyes of my patron, to prove that I am still worthy.
Because
Does Guh have like a lover or something we can capture and maybe like negotiate? We'll give you your lover and.
If you ask this to Herk, he says, well, that's the problem about Guh. She done made all of us her husbands. She kicked out every other female giant in this whole place. Called all of the males her husbands. And all we do now is go and get her food. Way more food than we used to hunt. Way more than we used to get. And now she's just getting bigger and bigger, and she thinks she's going to be the queen of the giants by being the biggest. And she's got a pretty good head start.
When are you due to give her food again?
Oh, there's always food in there. In fact,
Just wondering.
Does she have a favorite thing to eat?
Yeah, let's poison that shit.
I mean, she's not too picky, unfortunately. She eats pigs and sheep and people, anything we can catch, vegetables, fruit, anything that we can bring to her, she will devour with vigor.
Little boys, anybody got some poison on them?
Icons makes poisons. Takes sometimes.
Is
Then you
there
need the
any
right
other
herbs if you have
giants?
them.
I do believe
I
I have
feel
the
like-
things to make poison.
What was that, Devos?
Any other giants that would turn on her, like you? Maybe I don't phrase it like that,
He
but
shrugs and goes, well, it's hard to say. You know, we don't, it's treasonous to talk of such things. I've never tried to bring it up to them, but I do have a feeling if you were to kill Gur, they would probably stop their assault. Some of them
Is
take
Ga a formidable fighters?
Oh, she's not strong, but she is massive, and with that does come considerable bulk.
so she's slow.
Oh, practically immobile. You won't catch her off her throne now.
Sounds
She
like an
can't
easy
leave her
target.
thrones?
He nods his head. We even put wheels on it. Can't roll it around.
Think she could still swing a club?
He nods his head. Oh, she prefers her meals delivered, still kicking. You catch my drift.
Gross.
Have you ever seen Gobrand describes the magic conch? Magic conch!
Oh. Oh, yeah, I do. That's, the one that Hecaton gave her. She's had that for a long, long time. Longer than I've been alive, I think. He sort of scratches himself. No, it's usually right by her, but sometimes she hides it. Buries it behind her with the rest of her, booty.
Is it in a booty?
He goes, I just mean the stuff that she done stole and collected and hoarded. She don't like to share much.
Some of these
This
guys
group all
always have
about
their mind
booty.
in the gutter.
Specifically all about booty in this group.
I mean, kind of plan the double entendre, but
Is she particularly afraid of anything?
he
That you
sort
know
of thinks for a second. Anything bigger than her?
Let's see.
God, I wish we had a wizard.
I have stuff.
Says the angry
No one
bard.
has the thing.
I got filled.
No one has the thing Devin's thinking of, though. Not Goldbrand, but Devin.
Polyworth.
No. Enlarge.
Oh,
Reduce.
It's
I
still.
thought about getting it.
She's a couple sizes bigger than y'all. I don't think that would quite do it.
Yeah. It wouldn't make it bigger, but it would make somebody big enough to do some fucking damage.
I can only do a 10-foot cube-sized image.
And you
So I
gather
think
from looking at Herc, that's big, but it's not as big as a hill giant. Even a normal hill giant.
I think it's probably best if we let the big ones here handles ogres and smallers, and so he's all focused on the giants. Keeps him from having to fight skins, lets us kill some fucking giants, get some heads for some coins, some shinies, sorry. And I just wants to kill the fat ones. I need to kill
Sounds
some
like
things.
we
We haven't
go
killed
for
some
her
things in like
first.
6 days.
Kind of go for her first, ignore the rest.
Might not be a bad idea. Lots of us have the abilities to attack from a distance. If we can avoid the other ones and plow her down. Use a really good
Also,
stats, points at Zatari.
I learned this new spell. I can make a 5-foot cube of spinning daggers that could maybe like form a brief wall for the squishies. If they can, kind of get against the wall or something.
Not bad thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Just to
Zatari like points to you and she's
stave
like,
off
I've
panic
seen you
fodder.
I've seen you with a knife. I don't want your spinning daggers anywhere near me.
No, it's like a tornado of daggers.
Yeah, that sounds real safe. Fucking flying everywhere. Great, yeah. Fan-fucking-tastic.
Safer than your frickin' guns, fucking pepper box.
It only
He
works
holds
like
it up,
half
you
the
damn right,
times.
motherfucker. Click clack, get back, pow. With that, my dudes.
So yeah,
Those
If you
guns
boys
Devin's a
think we're
little
about to
afraid.
slice of bread.
One more time.
Those guns go good with a slice of bread. Jam.
Jam. Oh, that's hateful.
Wow, that was hot. That was solid. Devin's a little afraid, but Goldbrand wouldn't be to say this, so he's gonna say, follows me when we get inside. Eyes wills takes up the most defensible positions for us to blast the fat ones and protect ourselves from the others. Now I just gotta hope that I can actually figure that out when we see the room.
And with
Maybe
that, my
Bergen,
dudes. Oh, sorry.
Potentially me as well. Up front.
Yeah, Bergen
Yeah.
come with me on the front.
Thank you,
That's a good
boys.
idea.
With that, my dudes, we're gonna go ahead and take our break. So I'll see you back at 10:42, my guy.
Alright.
Caught a vibe.
Hey, Desmond, did you want to make a smoothie real quick before we start?
A smoothie.
Don't you throw that bouquet of boots.
Yeah.
She is
Every
perfect.
time.
All right, my dudes. As you guys sneak your way up to the entryway, Herk gives you what you can. The easiest way I can describe them are very bad, like FBI hand signals. Like, and he basically and points to the side room where he told you the orcs are, and he readies himself outside of it, and seems to wait for
Can
your
we, like,
cue.
peek around the cart? Little.
You can. Whoever does is gonna have to make a stealth check, but you can try that.
Okay,
Okay.
Tali.
I mean, if the group's okay with it, I'm willing to just goes in.
I mean, little
We'll try
recon.
this.
28.
Yeah, buddy.
Also roll a perception check.
Bro, ridiculous. Plus 10 to stealth. Jeez.
Get that
Fucking rogues,
expertise,
man.
baby.
Couple of things. Tali, you watch him stare at this curtain for almost 2 minutes, and you're beginning to think that he's just like zoned out like he was in the caves. But what he's doing is he's observing how this curtain, even this thick hide curtain that is very weighted, sort of drifts a little bit with the breeze. And he waits for just the right moment, feels the wind coming from behind him, and gently just flicks it aside as he leans against the wall and peers through. And Tali, what you see is an immense feasting hall. 8 sturdy but battered wooden tables are covered with globs of grease, gnawed bones, empty casks, and scraps of food. They stand along the north and the south walls, while empty ale barrels lie around and underneath them. Refuse covers the dried mud floor, in the middle of which are 2 20-foot diameter circular holes, topped with crisscrossing wooden beams held in place by mud cement. You recognize these as the holes into the lower cavern where the pigs are. Across the cavern, you see Chief Ga at the west end of the hall, slumped atop a 4-wheeled flatbed wagon that bends and creaks under her great bulk. The wagon's axles are cracked and bowed, and its wheels canted inward. Piled around the wagon are bones and other refuse from Ga's recent meals, as well as the treasure she has amassed. I'm going to drop 2 pictures into chat. One is her mini, which I want to show you guys just because it's disgusting, and then one is her character art.
Nice.
This is going to be in game notes.
That was not on mute, by the way, Devin.
I know.
Come on, Jared.
Alright, so I don't piss on Mike, so fuck you. Guys, gross.
That's fair. And you see this sort of half-eaten corpse along her stomach. That is a humanoid corpse. So the scale here is colossal. Absolutely layered with rolls and rolls of fat, weighing more than 20,000 pounds.
Does she have a well as a hat? What the
She
fuck?
does have a well as a hat. She is unable to walk on her own and is obese to the point of being spherical, revoltingly obtuse, and fragments of her meals, both flora and fauna, lie trapped beneath her thick shelves of fat. She can't move, So you see a great club close by. You also see 4 male hill giants and 3 ogres, as well as oil lamps and iron sconces that are mounted to pillars throughout this space. And with that, go ahead and reveal the main feasting hall to you. A couple other things you see. There is a ladder to a banister that goes the entire radius of the room. And you gather that this is for archers to take up post. Although there are none there now, you do think that given the size of the rungs, they don't seem to be made for giants or ogres or anything like that. They seem to be made for much smaller creatures. Perhaps the goblinoids or bugbears or something that they had in their army with them. You also see an exit way to the far right, to the far west, that you gather leads deeper within. And with a 24, I'll say that the curtain flips in enough to where you do see that there is also a portcullis over here, a metal wrought iron fence that is crisscrossed, has a lever beside it. All right, my dudes, what's the plan? Kicking down the curtain and going in guns blazing, or trying to be sneaky?
I'm sorry.
I thought we said guns a-blazing pretty much.
Yeah. I mean,
I guess Tali kind of relays that information to us before.
Are we able to check behind this other curtain?
You would have to make a separate stealth and perception check, but yes.
If we're
you
gonna do
also
this?
know that the orcs are back there because Herk told you that.
Correct.
3
Behind this curtain?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, fine.
He says he thinks about 3.
Okay. Well, we don't need to check on that then.
Okay, boys.
Well,
Tali,
Are these
if
5
Tali filled us in about these rooms. Are these 5-foot squares or 10-foot squares?
10-foot squares. And I imagine he relayed the information to you.
I think we
Davos,
should head
what were you
for the
saying?
ladders.
all
What were you
the way
saying,
across the room?
Does Goldbrand? Goldbrand hasn't seen the tables. If
They're
flip
giant-sized
them.
tables. The heads of them are probably 10, 15 feet off the ground.
so,
tops
Goldbrand
of
could
them,
turn
I
a
mean.
table over.
Not easily.
It's one of the only places that we could get really is to get out of the ways to bombard the fast ones. We don't want to be on the floors with the rest of the giants, or wells. Maybe use me's and the other holies mans.
I can conjure up a flying pig that flies across the room to at least distract them.
Satari looks at you. I'm sorry, what?
I'm pretty fast, but I don't know about the rest of you.
Let's see.
We can at least get surprise on one of them. Maybe.
And you gather that there's not an immediate hiding spot around the entryway. You're not going to be able to go in, and unless all of you just somehow roll miraculously, one of you will be spotted and blow your cover.
Not so much for stealth, more of like surprise, because I think.
Oh yeah, you could pop in and surprise. You could prep some things and pull back the curtain, which somebody would have to do as an action because it's heavy. You could do that and get a surprise round in, but
That may be the best course if this is our way in.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys want to hit the red giant or the blue giant? If we hit the red giant, and I doubt it, but if we dropped him with the surprise round, we could dash for the ladder.
I don't think I can hit the red
I was about
giant.
to say he's 130 feet away. Like this whole room's almost 200
alright.
feet long, so it's
That's
a good
fair.
distance.
We should go for the blue guy.
Or
Pop
just
him
straight
down.
for the surprise.
I mean, we can't. The round
We
would be
couldn't-
us
okay.
moving closer, and then maybe
Yeah.
I still wouldn't be able to attack. Honestly,
All right, fuck
I mean,
blue.
Goldbrand can cross about half the room with a dash.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
then you're standing in the middle of a room, ready to be squashed, says Bergen.
Goldbrand agrees.
I still think I don't know. I mean,
So this is
Hit
Devin
one.
talking more than Goldbrand. We could try to go around to the docks and come out that back room, but that seems like it would be, that's going to be Don't know how that would work out because I can't see the rest of
Yeah.
the rooms.
You
Don't know if we
and you
get
were
past the docks without the
Tali-
guard tower seeing us.
I was about to say, Tali did make a perception check and realizes they have a pretty good visual. You don't really, it's kind of hard to tell, but the guard tower is elevated. I mean, the tower itself is close to 40, 50 feet, plus the actual hill that it's on is higher than the surface that you are on. So you gather they would have a sight line of the dock. So might make it a little more difficult. Same, not impossible, but difficult.
Fucks this. You takes the giants, and I'll take the giants. He's pointing to the holy boys.
All right.
Blue giant.
Tyri comes up. This is technically 4 squares wide. She's going to come up and stand between you and Goldbrand. Or excuse me, between Goldbrand and Davos.
She's gonna bow cry. I'm assuming they're just gonna go after me, both of them.
They have their own place in initiative. I've already rolled it for them over the break, so you're good there.
Okay.
I mean,
Alright.
my ready action would be to attack the blue giant.
Okay. Who is pulling open the curtain?
I think Bergen should do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Bergen's going to pull the curtain. Tali's aiming for blue giant. Davos?
I'm gonna hit blue giant too.
Okay. What about your 2 followers? And Goldbrand?
I know Kai Karim, he's gonna do that. Gavin.
Not quite Kai Karim, but interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you.
Psionic arrow multi attack.
Yeah, he gets 2 of
How about
those
that?
per action. So,
And then
Goldbrand
Tyri.
will, and he'll wait till the actual attack, but he's gonna light up throw his javelin. That's a
Gotcha.
blue one.
And Zatari is the only one I think I still need.
Pop.
All right. So, you watch as Bergen counts down 3, 2, 1, and throws back the curtain with all of his might.
Can you say Leroy Jenkins when he does it?
Davos can. Herk disappears into the southern room, and you release all these attacks. So please, everybody who is aiming at the blue giant, go ahead and fire, which I think is everybody. Go ahead and fire off your blast, and let's see what our damage sums up to be.
Yeah!
Roll for damage.
Damn. That's pretty good.
That gets a +1 because of my thingamabob. My axe.
Okay. And I thought we added that in there last week. Is that still not popping up?
It doesn't apply to this particular thing.
I see. I will fix that. Devin. Star.
Do we need to roll initiative too?
We're going to in just 1
Not
second.
for a surprise round, I guess.
The 19 does hit. Roll damage.
Good guiding bolt.
Tali, roll to hit.
That actually was the damage. Sorry.
Oh,
1
I
second.
see that now.
Hell yeah.
I'm assuming that hits.
That does. And the 19 for the damage. Damn, dude. 19 for the damage.
Dang, go Kai Karim, sneak attack.
That's gonna be
None of
sneak
them
attack.
this round are gonna get advantage because you all sort of let off at the same time, but you have it for next round. Both of those hit. Somebody roll for Zat,
I got you.
and then roll for
He do-
Ghalvan and Tyri. If they're
Zat
doing good
doesn't
enough.
get. Is that what you just said? His advantage will be next round. So
Next
Zat
round,
doesn't
yeah.
get advantage for this.
Correct.
Heard.
I thought sneak attack, if you're just next to, or wait, they have.
He
have
should get
different
sneak
though.
attack because it's a surprise round, right? Or well, I
I'm
guess
not
that's
showing-
Tali
maybe that's not
does.
right.
I'm not showing that Tyri could hit, but I'll do 2 20s for Galvin.
You're not showing that Kai. What do you mean?
She doesn't have like a ranged attack.
Oh, she does. You're probably right. Let me double check.
Cobra waggles his eyebrows when he
That-
throws his javelin.
The
Looks
only
what
thing,
I can do.
the only thing she has is her maul, but she will use her sort of starting initiative to travel the 20 feet in to get in a melee strike.
Okay.
Identical hit rolls identical damage. What is going on?
That is
That was
weird,
kind of
yeah.
weird, Tali.
And
Zat
that's
rolled
the
a 14 or
7.
12.
The 12 does not hit. The 14 does.
11 piercing damage.
This is
So
Galvin's. And that's a +8 to each one. That's to hit.
oh, I see. So both of those hit. So roll your damage, which I think are d8s.
Yeah, 1d8 plus 3. So let's do 2d8s. Plus 6 is 17.
Solid. So you boys come in. Bergen pulls back the curtain, and immediately 2 psionic knives, 2 psionic arrows. The Tyri comes in with her maul, and all of you aim above her as Davos sends off this blinding radiance of energy, and Gulbrand sends off a javelin of starlight. And do quite a number on this guy. He goes not quite to critical, but he is badly bloodied. And with that, my dudes, we're going to go ahead and roll initiative.
Well.
Did you really do that sound?
Indeed.
I don't get it. What's the sound?
Devin,
like,
again, lives under a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I don't even know what it's from. I just know it's
It's not Smash
It's
Bros.
like
is it?
It's like a sports
No.
thing. It's like an air horn.
right.
A sports
it's an
thing.
air
You
horn.
can tell I watch the sports ball.
The sports horn.
Doesn't sound
Uh,
like an ESPN I've ever heard.
Well, no, it's like something actual games.
Oh, like the I see what you're saying with an air horn.
Zatari 13.
Yeah, it's like if they score or something.
Yeah,
God, dude, they fire a fucking cannon at our high school. It's obnoxious.
he's not
Oh,
wrong.
that's-
It is obnoxious. Taliban
Shoots
beating
tennis balls.
out the top of the round as you come in and throw these knives, and you guys sort of just make the breach of this curtain because all of you kind of have to for all of you to have a clear shot, you have to sort of step into the entryway. Well, actually, Tali and Davos won't because they were within line, but Zatari and Ghalvan need to come up to hit their quarry, and you guys can choose to if you would like with that 3 squares of movement for that opening round.
I calls
Yeah,
the red
why not?
ones.
And
Gotta kill the blue one first, huh?
with Taliban, or with that Taliban.
Wait.
What you got, my dude?
Freaking 26 initiative. Eat shit.
No. Gonna cast Hunter's Mark on our blue fella. That's just a damage. It's not a hit or anything.
Gotcha.
That is if I hit, that will be added to the damage. That is my action. So my bonus action will also be to swing. Where the fuck is the macro? That's probably not good.
That does not hit. It swings a little wide. Swing with your second one.
I
No, that was your
cannot.
bonus
The
action. I got you.
Oh wait,
Would
wait,
you
wait.
like to move?
I did that wrong, but the hit still counts. The spell is a bonus action, and I just did it backwards. It still doesn't matter.
But you still get one more hit if you're hitting with your action. Yes. Because it's the first round of combat. Or no,
No, I
because we
thought
did the
I
surprise
used
round.
that. Yeah, I used
I
it
see.
for the sneak attack.
Okay. Would you like to move?
I'm good right here.
Okay. As you guys make this breach, you hear Herk sort of give a shout and a sickening crunch from the other room. You don't gather that he was at the receiving end of that, but Bergen.
I do speak giant.
He
It's
basically he says some racial slurs against orcs, which if Valkyr were here would be like, "Fuck yeah, mate." But in fact, I'll say you probably know them from Valkyr specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Bergine. Is that also Tali?
What? Oh, that is me. Sorry.
No, you're fine. And I realize that too many times we get you like back to back. So after this round, we'll swap you with Davos, or we'll swap Bergen with Davos, so that you have at least a second between.
Spiritual weapon cast at a higher level. I'm still like on. It says you guys at a higher third level, the damage increases. Is that like every time it swings?
Yes, like
Yeah.
that damage
Okay.
is like once you're above that level threshold for that class, then that damage
Mhm.
is always that. Yes, sir.
Yeah. If it's a
Okay.
first level spell and you cast it at second level, it'll do 2d8 damage every
Also,
swing.
I'm just realizing we didn't do anything for. Oh no, he pulled the curtain. That's right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So I am gonna cast spiritual weapon at the third
Cool.
level so that it is 2d8. We'll put it right by our blue fella, maybe near this lamp.
Get it?
And then it will swing. I'm guessing, yeah, swings on the same turn.
Yes, sir. It swings the turn you conjure it, and then every turn after as a
Oh,
bonus
sorry,
action.
I swung twice. That was not supposed to happen.
That's okay.
The first was
What was
the
the first one? A nat
was
20.
a
Good
crit.
job.
bingo bango.
Okay, you guys watch as this giant who's just been bombarded with blows. As all of you finish your assault, Bergen turns one hand on the curtain and does his somatic components to conjure this ethereal yellow mace that you've seen many times before, but there's almost a viciousness with the way it swings. Before it has been defensive, but you see that this, being this close to a giant lord, to somebody who took something so personal from Bergen, you see a bit of a snarl on his face as he cast it, and the mace comes down with a fury and crushes the shoulder, the neck, and the skull of this giant as it collapses to the ground.
Sweet.
One down.
Oh yeah.
He does still have an action, because that's a bonus action to cast.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is
Oh.
very good.
Oh, well,
Yeah,
okay.
can't use a
You know what?
spell.
I'll tell you guys this. I saw that. I thought his nat 20 was his first hit, because I saw the one after it. He technically wouldn't have killed it, but we're going to say shits and giggles and flavor. I've already said it, so good job. Pre-kill
Yeah,
for
Price
Bergen.
is Right rules. Whatever that means.
Almost made me choke on my Jack and Coke.
I'll jack your Coke.
Oh, wow. I've done that on Coke before. Anyway.
Let's
That's not
see.
true.
What?
I will use Magister's Mace on this pink fellow.
Get him.
Mace of the Magistar, sorry. How's that 25?
That do hit. You watch as the
Boom.
ogre, Bergen, conjures one mace that crushes into this giant and immediately fires off a blast from his other. And while it does a bit of damage, the ogre doesn't look deterred. With that, we're going to go to Davos. Y'all rolled much better
What do
than
you
they did.
Deterred.
Does not look deterred. Like, he doesn't seem to be injured by any means.
Oh, okay, gotcha. All right. No. Sorry, Tali. 3 creatures within 30 feet.
Do, 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 do,
Nope.
do, do,
Yeah, that's it.
do,
Shut
do,
up.
do, do, do. 8.
Everyone,
Oh, wow.
by everyone, I mean Goldbrand, Zat, and Bergen will get. It's not healing. I didn't.
It's temp hit points, I think.
Yeah, it's hit point maximum and current hit points increase by 5 for the duration, but I cast it at 3rd level, so 10.
So they get.
You get 10 hit points and 10 maximum hit points added. So like.
I see.
On a-
So everybody's temporarily their hit points go up by 10. Is this a
Yeah,
concentration
by-
spell or is this just in?
This.
What's the duration on
is
it?
Not. It is for 8 hours.
Cool.
That is my action.
And that was
And that's
Bergen Goldbrand.
Bergen, Goldbrand, and Zat, because he's right there.
Cool. Hey. Bergen, you get your max HP goes up by 10. Or excuse me, Goldbrand, your max HP goes up by 10 as Davos has just aided you.
And your current hit points, too. So, like, yeah. Extra 10 hit points. For
Gives me hit
Goldbrand.
points and max HP.
Correct. Isn't that cool?
So I heal for 10.
And I think I said
and
Bergen.
get a
I'm sorry,
max of
Davos gave
10.
you that.
Correct.
All
You
right.
heal for 10.
Bonus action.
Bonus action. I'm probably going to move as well. I will. What's the range on this thing? Nope, not gonna do that. I'm just gonna move towards this ogre. 10, 20, 30. Go about right here.
Bueno. With that, we go to Tyri. So also Davos.
Well, now that her target is gone, she will follow me. I can't move her.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. She actually, I think she has a movement speed of 40.
Okay.
I will double check that, but go ahead.
And she will look at this orange giant. Let me make sure the range is there. Doesn't have
I was
a
wrong.
range.
30.
It doesn't say a range on her battle
Yeah.
cry.
On her battle cry.
Mhm.
I think creature you can see. I didn't type it in there, but creature she can see. So she can pick one bigger than her, 2 that are her size, which in this room is nothing, and
Right.
3 smaller than her.
She's gonna go for this orange giant
Okay.
battle cry. That's a DC 14 con save.
Yes, sir. Fair warning, their cons ain't nothing to scoff at. That's not an ogre, that is a giant. Okay. Con save +4. 17. I'm sorry, my dude.
All right, that didn't work.
But that's a bonus action, I think. So she still has her action. If you can.
I don't.
She could choose to dash, if you would like.
If she can't attack, I won't. She's not as healthy as us.
Okay. With that, we go to Chief Guh, who is snarling and just as she like goes to try to grab her club, she can't quite reach it, and instead grabs a skull of a large creature that looks about the size of the skull of the ogres. She takes it and she picks it over her head and she throws it. Her arms just flapping in the wind as she does. She's going to aim for. I think she saw.
Bring it.
You know, I think it's gonna be Tyri actually, because she's front and center.
You're bullshit.
You're right. Rock +8. 27 to hit. Do
That
me a
hits.
favor. Do me a favor. Take well, I guess I have to do it.
I got it.
20 points of bludgeoning damage.
Jesus.
As
Okay.
Tyri almost immediately, like rushing up into the fray, gives this battle cry and is flattened by an ogre skull and sort of knocked on her ass a bit. Looking a little dazed, but not deterred. The ogres, who all roll together. One's gonna come up to Davos. 1, 2, 3. One's gonna come up over here. One's gonna make 1, 2, 3 their way down here. The one that is closest to Goldbrand or to Davos is gonna swing at Davos. Oh, I'm sorry, that's orc, not ogre. So 15 does not hit, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so the other 2, you're gonna throw off one at Goldbrand and Davos again because you're closer to the pink one. Oh, I have 2 pink ones. I'll fix that. Neither of those hit. A 12 does not hit Goldbrand, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and the other one's a pretty broad miss. That brings us to Zat, followed by Goldbrand.
That is going to blap blap. So this one's. Can he get close enough to shoot this one?
What is it,
10.
10?
I think it's
He
120
has a range
feet.
of 80 feet.
He'd have to.
He has a movement
cannot-
of 30 feet.
He cannot do that unless he dashes this turn, and then he won't be able to do it until next turn.
Let's see. So
He
he's
can
gonna
hit
move
the purple, the pinks, and the
10,
orange.
20. He's gonna move right there, and I
Okay.
guess he's gonna blast this pink here
Gotcha.
with a blap blap.
Get him with a blap blap.
Here and a blap blap there. Here a blap
Blap.
blap blap.
Everywhere,
Blap.
blap blap. Oh, make blap blap blap. Some blaps.
Oh,
Blappity, blap,
Zatari
blap,
had
blap.
a jam.
Both of those hit. That's 13 damage total. Oh, and unless he has anything for his bonus action. Oh, you can choose to use one of your smites, one of your runes.
Well, he has to do that before he attacks.
No, we changed the rules. Remember, it's like a. He can declare after he hits. It's like a smite.
I think he's gonna wait.
Think he's gonna wait. Okay. That
use
brings
that
us
on
to
the giants?
Goldbrand.
Goldbrand will, since they're all so far away. I don't think he's gonna rage yet. Goldbrand can move 45 feet.
Okay, so 4.5 squares. We'll just round it to 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Goldbrand looking pretty swole today, by the way, fam. Y'all are noticing while y'all are patching up.
He-
He's got a little bigger.
Yeah, he's swole as fuck now. This is an ogre. This guy.
Yeah, the purple, the blue, the purple, the pink, and the yellow are ogres.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he can come to here
Pop, pop.
without dashing.
And then,
Sorry, I'm trying to decide if this is worth doing. I don't think so because the arena is so big. He's not going to do it. So instead, he will go ahead and he's already starry formed because he has to do that to throw his javelin.
Mhm.
All right, so he's just gonna wombo combo because I'm not sure how this round's gonna turn out. So he'll use his first 2 attacks now that he can do that on this guy.
Okay. Go ahead and swing.
Come on now, show me my things. First attack.
That meets.
Sucks.
That meets the
Second
ogre.
attack.
That hits.
Well, a 7 plus 2 is 9. A 15 plus 2 is 17.
Are you getting +2 because you're raging?
Rage.
Did you
But
rage?
I didn't rage. Yeah, I didn't rage. You're right. Thank you.
If you
You're
haven't used your
absolutely right.
bonus action this turn, you can do that.
Well, he's gonna use it to throw his spear.
Okay, so he has
Wombo
not raged
combo.
yet. So 22 damage. Okay, go ahead and throw your spear.
10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Can I hit this one here?
You can.
Looks like 60 feet.
Yeah.
Gonna do that.
Since he's a large creature, I won't let Davos give him cover. That does hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
4. Wombo combo! I waited 7 levels to do that. Okay. He might rage next turn, but we'll see.
And with that, we go to Ghalvan.
All right, doing the psychic arrows.
Get him.
2 of them.
To
8
who?
and a 9. The ogre here.
There's
Let's
a
see what
16 and a
the
17, is that correct?
Yep, both of those
8
hit.
each. And that's 1d8 plus 3, so 2d8. Ooh, plus 6, 12.
Gotcha.
12 damage.
Bloop. All right. Again, a couple of psionic arrows blast off from the back as Ghalvan fires a few into this ogre. The 4 hill giants go. Y'all killed one. I think it was B. Yeah, it was B, so let me delete him from the list. But the other 3 who rolled like donkey. How did one get a 0? God damn. They're
Giants
gonna go 1, 2. They get to move 50 feet around. 1, 2,
What?
3,
I'm
4,
dead.
They big. They're like lumbering
1,
steps.
2, 3, 4, 5. Let me look at my squares again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think you're technically just outside of. Oh no, they have reach.
Mm-hmm. With 10 feet reach, right?
Yes.
Or maybe more than that.
It's technically 10-foot reach. So to Davos and to Gullbrand. A nat 20 and a 19. The Gullbrand, you got the 20 because that was the dice I determined for you. So Davos take 18 bludgeoning damage. Gullbrand take 36 bludgeoning damage.
Not bad.
That was just their first attack.
Fair.
I'm
You're
assuming
much
he's not with
luckier. A 7 and a 16. Does a 16 hit you, Davos? That does not, does it?
No.
Okay. The third one is going to take a boulder and try to hit Zat. He only gets to make one of these. A 19 to hit.
It's gonna hit Zat.
19 bludgeoning damage to Zat, which I will mark off. And to Taliband.
Yep.
That's not good for Zat.
No, that puts him at 50. He's not bloodied, but he ain't great. Because he had the 10 extra hit points from earlier. Or, I'm sorry.
Well, same thing to me.
I'm sorry?
Oh, is it my turn?
Yes,
Oh,
sir. Yeah.
I thought I was being hit.
No, you're good. Sorry.
No worries.
Technically, you're in full cover.
Yeah, hiding behind the cleric. That's a good
Yeah.
move.
That's... My goodness. Bit of a pickle, aren't we? Huh. Let's see. Is the orange giant in my line of sight?
Let me take a look. You might have to come out of the cave to get a clear shot, or out of the tunnel. You could move behind like Zat and Tyri over here and still get a good shot, because technically they're spaced out a
Not
little
like
bit.
there?
I think you're gonna have to cross the threshold, because there's technically still like a clump of curtain on one side of this cavern, or this entryway.
Okay. So that doesn't work?
I think that would work, given that it's open. Yeah.
Then I will take aim at the orange fellow. Here we go. I'm going to cast Dissonant Whispers upon him.
Boy, what's the save on that? 14.
14.
Wisdom. They're dumb as fuck, so good call. Oh, he rolled an 8, so that fails. So he takes the full 14 damage. You're talking about the orange one, yeah?
Correct.
And he has
And
to use his
then
whole
on his
action to
next
run
turn,
away.
yeah, on his next turn, he uses all of his movement to move away from me.
Gotcha. Bueno.
As
What do
far
you
as
say
he
to
possibly
him?
can.
Just for flavor.
I think is calling you to the bedroom.
You see him panic as he begins to run.
That's so good.
That brings us to the top of the initiative, where a couple of things happen. First off, you hear another squish coming from the back room. Second,
Is that the porkless room?
not that room, the room that Herk went into. Really only Bergen and Tali probably hear it well, but gotta move a couple other things. You hear loud chatter from outside. Goblinoid, can't make it out, but you gather that the rest of the keep is aware of your presence. Or at least there are people in other rooms who are aware of your presence. And with that, we go to Davos.
Wait, I didn't have my bonus
was
action.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, my dude.
And I'm not doing that, by the way. That was an accident.
Solid. Hit to orange again.
Correct.
Cool. 10 damage. Loop-de-loop. All right. Tali whispers under his breath. This crude giant sort of sneers his face in horror as a knife sort of hits him in the shoulder. And again, that spike of mental pain sort of ignites his run as he turns to take off away from you. Davos.
All right, getting a little inspiration from Tali. I'm a dissonant whisper that green giant.
Get
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, crowd
Except
control
the
by dudes.
save-
Love it.
The save is a 13 for me.
13 wisdom. He gets a -1. He rolled a 19. I'm sorry, so that's an 18.
Fuck
Does he take
you.
half, or is that a nothing? I think it's an all or nothing
Half
one.
as much damage, and he does not have to move away.
Gotcha. Speaking of, I'm gonna mark this giant with something to help me remember that he has to flee. Give the little surrender flag. And this one takes half of that. All right, my dude. He looks pissed off. Bonus action.
I was thinking the only thing I might be able to do is that Light of Lathander, but that would be a second spell. We can't do that, right?
Light of Lathander is technically a class ability. So if I recall correctly, I think you can do... If a class ability grants you the... Oh, hang on. It is not a spell. You can use both at a turn.
Then I will do that. I don't know if you want to use my previous roll, which was a 3 on damage, or if you want me to roll
We'll
again.
let you re-roll it.
Alright.
I'll say that with the 15-foot cone, you could get the orange giant and the pink ogre.
Both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say you could probably get the orange and the green too, considering that they're technically side by side as far as the spaces they occupy.
I'll do that then. Go
Okay.
after both giants.
Okay, so they're gonna make 2 wisdom or not wisdom saves. What is it, con?
Con save, and
Cool.
they'll be blinded.
DC 12. One rolled well. We'll say the green one. The other one did not. So he's gonna take the full 6 damage. And
Can
he
I
is-
can I pick? I
Can-
would rather the green one be blinded.
Well, I get why you would
Is the
rather
orange-
do that.
Okay, you already said it. Whatever. Alright.
The other one does take half damage, or
Yeah.
gotcha. All right.
That's it.
You hear similar whispers. What do you say to your giant, by the way? Try to piss him off.
Go wants you too. 'Cause it didn't work. So
Since
I
he
wanted
didn't
it to
hear
be
what
bad.
Tali said, like he's just kind of confused and sort of just snarls a bit. And a burst of radiant light shines out, which blinds this first giant as he's now reeling and sort of doesn't even quite know which way to run, but is afraid that there's something that he can't see that is after him. With that, we're going to go to Bergin. Is that...
He will. Let's see. Have his weapon. move up to our red giant, or I'd say like,
1, 2,
and
3.
without
He could
without
get
getting
within
in
range.
Ghalvan's way, yeah. And then that's gonna be a swing. 24,
That do
and then
hit.
another D8. 7 and 5 for damage,
All right.
and then
We got his
he
action.
will. Let's see. How's your HP, Davos?
Mine is like 37 out of 55.
Okay.
I'm okay.
Most of you are pretty good. The only one who I would say looks bloodied is Tyri.
Mm-hmm. That's my girl.
That's my girl.
I'll take care of her.
Who he stole from Goldbrand.
Bergen will
I'm-
move up and then use Cure Wounds on this person.
Okay,
Let me
sweet.
pull it up.
What you get for that roll? Solid.
11.
All right.
He had to roll low for an 11.
He rolled a
4.
4. Yeah.
Low level.
But he gives her a nice little pick me up, and she actually says it in Bothy, but Goldburn, you hear her say thank you to Bergen. And with that, it is her turn.
She says thanks.
Feeling rejuvenated, she's gonna run after. I'm gonna say the ogre, the pink thing.
Okay, yeah, she can get to that. Bring her down right about here.
And it's a +7 to a hit. Oh
Hmm.
wow! She trips over my foot.
Yeah, she sort of tries to shove
Grabs
her
a handful of hair on the way down.
you
Oh, shut up.
you gather that while she's used to battle in an open sort of area, she's not used to fighting indoors, and you can kind of tell as she tries to clumsily make her way through the two of you, and she swings. Roll another d20 for me.
Bastard. Wow, are you serious?
As
Get
she
him out of
hits
the way now.
Goldbrand, or excuse me, as she hits Davos with her maul, going for that swing. I'll roll damage for
I
you.
gotta roll the full damage.
I'll dock you a little bit. Take 6 points of bludgeoning damage.
Alright.
Was gonna be quite a bit. So
I thought we had a good thing.
with that, she begins apologizing as Gah once again reaches on the side of her throne and picks up a boulder, and looking out at you is going to throw this one for Goldbrand, who she sees is picking some bitches up. So she's going to throw a rock. 20 to hit, dirty 20.
Oh. He is the biggest one.
Oh,
ever.
that's pretty good. Or that's good for you guys. 15 bludgeoning damage, which puts him.
That's only like 5 real damage.
Well, I'm not raging yet. I'm getting ready to be.
Oh, did I say Goldbrand? I'm sorry, I meant Bergen, because he's the one healing
Oh.
people. I'm sorry.
Okay, you
Goldbrand,
did say
Bergen. I don't know what it is.
20? Does that? What does he got? An 18?
He don't got a 20. He's pretty high up
Right.
there, but I'll check real quick just to be safe. But he did get something recently. No, it's a shield training. It doesn't give him additional AC.
He can cast shield as a reaction if that would keep it from hitting him.
He could. You're absolutely right. Yeah. So Tali, if you would like, you could spend one of his spell slots. Oh no, he gets one free every day. So we'll say he does that.
Bergen gets a free shield every day?
He gets one free shield and one free shield of faith every day.
Sick. Well, hell yeah, he's doing that.
Because shield is +5, right? Because it's just like, it's a reaction. It's just for that moment. Maybe it is the
Yeah,
whole
it's
rest
an
of the round. I
instant.
don't
Shield of faith is a concentration thing. Shield
Yeah,
is something for you
Is there-
personally, and it's one round.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, one round.
So that's good. The ogres. This one is going to 1, 2, 3. He still can't quite get within melee range, so he's going to throw a javelin at Zat. Oh, a 27 to hit. Take +3, 9 piercing damage. Zatari. Bloop. And then this one's for these two, because he gets 2 swings, are going to be for Goldbrand. A 9 and a 6. Does a 17 hit?
Hits Goldbrand for sure.
9, 2, 4, 15 points of bludgeoning damage. And then to Davos. Oh, okay, the 17 definitely hits. It's 23 total for 16 points of bludgeoning damage. To Davos. And with that, we go to Zat.
Okay.
That. Decisions. So
hit
I
me?
think an ogre hit you, right?
The pink one?
One of the ogres hit you, yes, the pink one.
Okay.
Or,
So I guess
it was either the pink or the yellow one. No, yellow one was too far. It was the pink.
Zat's gonna start targeting whoever he thinks looks the most hurt.
I
would say
the
Pink
pink ogre looks pretty rough.
He gonna blast him.
The of the giants, the orange one looks the worst, but he's not bloodied. Go ahead and blast.
I think he is gonna focus the giant.
Get him.
he's gonna be
He wants
running
to.
away.
He wants to
That-
get it down first.
He took
So
that
what
comment
he's gonna
personally.
do? He's gonna use his bonus action to use a storm shot once a day, plus one
Yep.
d6 lightning damage. It's a
Correct.
dex save versus his trick shot DC. Where do I find that shit?
Oh, it's in his. I think it's a 14 or a 15 for him. I forget where it is on his character sheet. I think it's where your
So-
spell save DC is normally.
I didn't see it there. There's the first shot. I guess he gets to pick because it's a smite. If that doesn't hit, he's not going to use it.
The 11 does. Let me double check. No, that does not hit the giants.
Come
Um,
on, second shot. Dope. He's not going to use it this turn then.
Well, damn.
Blab
That
blab.
Okay.
Scared shitless. He misses both times.
That sort of cusses under his breath. Goldbrand, to you, my dude.
Goldbrand, seeing that he's like kind of holding this side
Corner,
of the flank
yeah.
against these giants, he's going to take this big old grin and slam his axe on the ground a couple of times and snort his blood reed and rage.
Rage.
Uh,
He would like
where's my
to
rage
rage.
button? I would like to rage, yes. And then he's going to keep trying to kill the ogre, I guess.
Get him. That hits. That hits.
These do get their +2s, so that's a 17. 2 17s.
Damn, dude, that's 34 points of damage. Yeah. He watches Goldbrand. His veins pop. He takes this snort of the bloodweed powder, and you see his veins begin to bulge. You see his eyes like grow bloodshot. You see the muscles along his neck start to pop out, and he lets loose this bellow as he just swings with the axe twice and just cleaves through this ogre. Absolutely, one arm goes off. A part of the torso detaches from the rest of the body. It's a gruesome death.
He'll want to point to the giant next to me and go, "You're next, motherfuckers," and giants.
Roll an intimidation check with disadvantage.
Oh. I don't like that. Intimidation check.
We're just gonna see how that pans out. Yeah, that's
2.
kind of what I thought. If you rolled well twice, I was gonna let you have a little something, but all right. Anything with your bonus action, my dude?
That took my bonus
Oh, it's
action
the
to
rage.
rage.
Yes. So Ghalvan, Davos.
All right, he's going to psychic arrow. Ogre.
Which ogre? Yellow ogre, pink ogre.
Sorry, pink.
Okay, cool. You get to add a +8 to that.
Let me double check. I think
Both of those
so.
hit.
Yep. And so 2d8
Plus 6, 16. That ogre's looking pretty rough. He's definitely in the critical territory. The Hill Giants, which all three are, those three are still standing. Okay, so let's see. One is going to sort of move around the weapon. One is going to square up with Davos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll say this one's going to aim for Zat. So the first 2 swings to Zat. One's a 5, which doesn't hit. That was actually a D12 and not a D20. Give me 1 second. Oh. Does a 16 hit Zat?
I believe it does. Let me double check. 16 meets.
Okay, so 1 hits, and that is 19 points of bludgeoning damage to Zat.
Ooh, is that not down?
No, because he got some bonus hit points earlier too. With the 19, he is at 24 hit points, if my math is right. I've been trying to keep up with it. This one is coming. These two are coming to Davos. Ooh, one of those definitely hits.
Is this from the orange guy?
Yes,
Would
sir.
he have disadvantage being blind?
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Yes, so that first one misses. Second swing. An 8 plus 8 is 16. Does not hit. Yeah,
Mates.
solid. So as
No. I got a 19.
yeah, he's
Oh, I thought it
he's
was talking
tanky.
about that. My bad.
No. The other one is blinded, not the one that hits that. He is unblinded at the end of this turn. Is that right, or is it at the end of your next turn?
That would be what's it?
I think it's the end of your next turn.
Light
Actually,
Lathander.
yeah.
Let's see.
While we're doing that, Goldbrand, you got 2 coming to you. One's a nat 20 and one's a dirty 20.
Okay.
Witness the last stand of Goldbrand Starkeeper. Okay, hang on.
It says until the end of my next turn.
Is my math right there? 42 points of bludgeoning damage.
Cut in half.
Oh, you're right, you lucky son of a bitch.
To
21
be
points.
21. I'm also going to use my reaction to use my stone skin to
Absorb a
reduce
little more.
that by 9 damage. To
So,
make that
12.
12 damage.
Bravo fucking Vo,
Because
dude.
I'm a
God
fucking
damn.
Goliath. Fuck you.
This giant comes up and having seen you just slice and try to taunt him after killing his ally, just seems extra furious and lays into Goldbrand with like 2 very solid hits, and Goldbrand doesn't budge. Like you see scratches upon his stomach where the great club like broke skin in some points, but Goldbrand just looks up at him and grins and
I said you're next, motherfuckers.
roll that check again with advantage.
I'm not gonna lie, when we said cut in half, I thought Goldbrand was literally cut in half.
I thought so too. I was like, oh fuck.
Right,
No.
I was like,
The other one, the Goldbrand just cut the ogre in half.
No, right.
You see he's looking nervous. He's not fleeing, but he's definitely more anxious about fighting you now. The Smartens ain't usually this tough, he says. Talibund, back to you, my dude.
Sure. Let's see. As a bonus action, I'm going to transfer. Did our giant friends not run away scared?
Oh, you're correct. He did not. He has to use his full movement too. It doesn't say that's the first thing he has to do. So he's going to
Correct.
take that swing and then go 5, 10, 15, 20, 20. Oh, I'm sorry. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Thank you for reminding me of that.
Does Davos get an opportunity attack?
He was, yeah, he did step forward.
Oh,
He did.
I'm
actually,
trying to remember.
as a note, I'll
it
display in VTT. As a note for Dissonant Whispers, they have to use their reaction to immediately move as far away as possible. That's just for future reference.
Oh, I see. So give me 1 second. It must immediately use its reaction. Okay, so on his reaction, he would have pulled back. But it only lasts the 1 round. So during his turn, he probably would have moved forward.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be back here. Technically, that means that someone shouldn't have hit him when they did earlier, but we'll let it slide since I didn't pick it up. But thank you, Sir Taliband. Continue.
And then, so I will use my bonus action to establish him as my hunter's mark target. And then I will use my action to attack him. Fuck.
15 hits.
Oh, sick.
These guys are big, and that one does not. Not that big.
Yeah. And then I'm going to add sneak attack to that because he is within 5 feet of my allies.
Correct. And you don't get to add your hunter's mark this turn. That's next turn.
Oh, I think I do actually. Let me make sure.
You did it before. I think you're right. Yeah. Roll damage for your Kai Karim either way.
It was 9.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was the second roll. You do have your second attack then.
No, my my action was to attack him. My bonus action was to reestablish him as the
Correct.
hunter's mark target since
I'm sorry,
my first target.
I keep forgetting
Wait.
that you don't have your that you don't have the 2 hits every turn. It's just during the opening turn. My bad.
Yeah, it's just the first turn. Yeah.
Alright. Any
you got
movement
it.
or anything, my dude?
I'm good.
All right. With that, you hear another sickening crunch, and the curtain over here shifts as Herk, admittedly a little bloodied up. I wouldn't say he's bloodied, but you see a lot of blood on him. Not all of it is his. As he comes out and seems to be done with the orcs that are in there. At about the same time, on the other end of the room, you see a hobgoblin and 2 bugbears making their way into the chamber on the far side. I'm going to add them to the initiative real quick. Go ahead and go Davos.
Alright, Dissonant Whispers, first level on Green Giant.
Green Giant.
Did it. Once again, that's a 13 on the Wisdom save.
I'm sorry, let me add that in. Loop. Okay. 13 on the wisdom save to the green giant.
Yeah,
Green
and
giant.
would I get a
He fails.
opportunity attack?
And I'm trying to remember this. When something forces them to play, I don't think you get the opportunity attack, but I'm looking.
Well, I think I
If
could
you
be
knock
wrong.
them
There's
back.
a difference. Yeah, like if they are pushed or
not-
thrown, it doesn't count. But if they move, then it still counts.
Okay. So go ahead and make a swipe for the opportunity attack. That is going to use your reaction for the next turn, but
Mm-hmm.
22
'Cause I think
does
that's
hit.
the point of those spells.
One of the points. Part of it's crowd control, but 76.
So 21
Okay.
total damage.
And then 1, 2. Zat and Bergen also get an opportunity attack.
That
5.
does he have to make that disadvantage?
For what?
Technically, it's a ranged attack. He can do his pistol whip with a regular hit, or you can do a shot to do disadvantage.
Make sure he doesn't have sharpshooter. That's at long range.
Yeah, I was about to say he doesn't get long range penalties. I think he still has short range penalties.
He'll take the disadvantage to try to pop it. Come on, roll, damn it. 18.
18 does hit for 12 damage. Solid, solid. And for Bergin. Tali?
Yep.
Caught a fair.
Bergen gets a opportunity attack if you'll swing with his mace for me, my dude.
Sweet.
Blurp, 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 blurp. Which
Kablam.
does hit, yeah. This one's looking about bloodied now. He's in rough shape and is looking at the corpse of the one giant. He's literally standing over the one that you eviscerated earlier. His horror just building up. And with that,
Might have another chest ice Iron Man beam come out.
I'm sorry, what?
Bonus action. Light of the Thunder.
Oh, getting it again? Wait a second. Isn't it Bergen's turn?
He's. Remember we went after me, so that way it'd give Tali a second.
I thought I swapped you two. That's weird that it put you guys
You
back.
did. I don't know why I put it back.
Huh. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, my dude. Oh,
Alright,
it's probably when I added in the new enemies.
Let's see. I'm gonna aim it at the yellow ogre and the orange giant again.
Okay. DC 12. Giant gets to add a good bit. Giant passes. He'll take the half damage, so he's going to take 4. Yellow fails. So he takes the full 7. 1 second.
He's blinded until the end of my next turn.
This one was blinded before. Would have just gotten his sight back at the end of your turn, but is re-blinded.
Well, I thought you said the orange passed.
It's technically at the end of your next turn, and I think this is the turn after you blinding them. Not 100% on that, but pretty sure.
I would say he's unblinded now then, huh?
Well, no, because it's still the end of your next turn. So you blinded him 1 round ago? Yeah?
Yeah.
So he's still blind until the end of your turn, but now he's blind until the end of your next turn.
Okay.
Oh no, he passed. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Okay, yeah, he's blind for now, but won't be at the end of your turn. So you still have perks to hit him, but I think that's your action, your bonus action. Yeah.
Yeah. And if I move, I'm gonna get opportunity attack by Pink Ogre. Yes.
Technically, all three of them, maybe not yellow. The other two can swing at you, but the blind one would have to do so at disadvantage, if that makes a difference to you at all.
I'll stay here and hope that Bergen sees that I'm pretty bloodied.
You can call out like, "Could use some help."
Low help! Low help!
All right. With that, we go to Bergen. Telebundo.
Indeed. What of these many healing spells will we use?
The max one.
One of
The
them
big
is
one.
a 10-minute spell.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
prayer
Word
of healing.
prayer of healing, yeah. But healing word and cure wounds can both be used as action and bonus action, I think, respectively. I think I got that backwards.
Correct.
Just
Oh,
can't
man.
use them on the same turn.
Correct.
You can use your bonus action to attack with your spiritual weapon though.
Correct.
Yes, this is true. Which will happen.
Hit it.
We're still on the red giant, I believe, with the spiritual weapon.
Yes, sir.
So there it swings.
That do hit.
And for
And
spells, we're
that
gonna
damage
walk-
is only rolling at a 1d8. You should be rolling an extra d8 because you upcast it.
that is comes
Ooh,
a second
I'm glad
one.
you noticed that because I wasn't paying attention.
I'd been doing it every turn. I just did not do it that time.
Okay, cool.
And then, moving into melee of our friend Davos. And let's see. What the fuck? One of these. This is the one we want.
I will say green and orange are bloodied. Red is not quite there. Just for your own
Copy that.
Okay.
mental.
Also, I'm going to take scares of that, DMs.
The the yellow one
Says
does
the
not
giant
look that
dog.
upset, or does not look that beat up. Pink is pretty fucked up.
So that was healing for Davos, and that will be Birkin's turn.
Yeet. All right.
Thank you.
You said which were bloodied? Red and
The green
orange?
and
Green and
orange
orange.
and pink are all
Okay.
bloodied or beyond. Yellow and red
Sweet.
are still in pretty good shape. Plus Guh, who hasn't been hit yet. Which brings us to Tyri, who stands to face her pink assaulter.
12 hit the ogre.
Oh. That just hits. Roll damage.
2d6 plus 4.
Plus
10
4,
damage.
10. You watch as you see the blood across her, little pissed off that was caught off guard by Gus so quickly, and immediately with her maul just goes and she swings, and the body stays, but the head just vanishes, splatter on the wall, as that ogre too falls.
That's what I'm talking about.
With that, let's go ahead and go to Gur, who is still, you see her sort of struggling to try to stand up, and out of round objects to throw, grabs a club. Not her club, but a club that is at her side. And is going to chuck it. It's not a thrown weapon, so we're going to give her disadvantage, but she still gets to add a fuck stone to it.
Disadvantage.
A 13 to hit Goldbrand, which I don't think does.
Does not hit.
Sweet. She cusses loudly and
Goldbrand
giant.
laps.
You also see her with her bonus action, quote unquote. You see her trying to reach around herself in the cart. You gather she's looking for something. That brings us to our 3 ogres, 2 of which are dead. So that's just Ogre C now,
Just the yellow one, right?
who is blinded. He's gonna stumble forward and try to swing where he last saw. Probably where he last saw Davos, because Davos is the one who blinded him. But at disadvantage, he swings. Oh, that was a nat 1. He's going to hit his giant buddy. And deal
Hell yeah. Full damage.
13 points of... I'll remember that next time.
Yeah, I was just
He tries to swing at
Yeah.
you and just goes wide and just runs his great club into the leg of the giant beside him. And that brings us to Zat.
Zat is going to take both of his attacks. He'll have to reload after this, which kind of sucks. This is his last 2 bullets. On the green giant here.
Technically, he just has one bullet because you used one as a reaction.
Oh. I used 2. Oh, I did use 1. Okay. Well, then he'll use his last bullet. If it hits, he's going to use his smite.
What are you hitting?
The green one.
That does not hit the green one.
Then he'll use his other action from his extra attack to reload.
Do me a favor. Roll with advantage. So roll one more time because that creature was fleeing, and I will say is turned away to make it a little easier. That barely hits. All right, so go ahead and cast your smite shit.
He's gonna use this one. Can I put it in chat?
Yeah, should be able to.
Put it in chat. Oh, I may not be able to. Oh, there's the extra damage from it.
It's only a D6. That's a little crummy, but that's okay.
on a
Well,
second.
read the
I'm
special
almost-
effect for me.
I got you. I figured out how to put it in chat now. It's a little weird because I have to click extra buttons for him.
Dex save or stunned.
14 dex save.
Dex, they get a -1. Oh, he got a nat 1. So yeah, that definitely works. He is stunned and a D4 to the red
Tased him.
giant. Which is going to be 3 more damage. So he is
That
stunned,
tases that
which means you guys get advantage to hit him. He has disadvantage. I think he actually can't take actions. I'm sorry. Let me check that. I don't think it's disadvantage. I think it's full-on incapacitated. A stunned creature is incapacitated, can't move, speak. The creature automatically fails strength and dex throws. Attack rolls against it have advantage. Incapacitated means it can't take attack actions or reactions. So we'll do a little, we'll do that for stunned. All right. Bonus action to, or second action, quote unquote, to reload. Okay, that brings us to Gulbrand.
Goldbrand will, and please correct me, anybody, if I'm wrong. I don't believe we have several healing potions. I know Goldbrand himself has used at least one of the regulars, but to my knowledge, we haven't used the greater healing potion. So Goldbrand's gonna chug that as his bonus action.
Okay.
DM, I'm really sorry, I can't remember what that is. 2d4 plus 4?
It's more than that. You're talking about
4d4 plus 4.
Yeah, there
Greater
we go.
healing potion. 12 hit points. Takes back that.
that last blow.
fucking-
Yeah,
yeah,
fucking
last
hill
blow.
giant going to town on you.
And then he's gonna swing on this motherfucker with his 2 attacks.
Get him.
'cause That was his bonus action.
Oh,
Oh.
one hits, one doesn't. Roll another d20 and then roll damage for me.
So 12. Oh, sorry,
Okay,
I did the
so
damage.
you lucked
12
out.
Damage.
There wasn't anyone around you to hit anyway, but
Well, that was the damage. It's
Oh, I'm
12
sorry, go ahead.
total. I'm working on it. Blap. 12 again.
get back.
Wow.
Blip, blap, pow.
I think that's all Goldbrand can do. Uses his bonus action, chug a potion, swung both times. That's about it.
Okay.
Goldbrand's having a great
Bloop,
time.
bloop. All right, that brings us to Ghalvan. Sir Davos. You are muted, my friend.
You
There we go.
already know.
You know what it is.
That's a nat 20 and a 14 on who's he gonna hit? Orange Giant.
Both of those hit.
And it's how we doing the critical?
Roll the damage die twice. So in this case, roll 3d8, and then just add the +6.
6.
17
23.
plus 6 is 23. You watch as 2 more psionic arrows fly over and stab this guy into the shoulder, and he again doesn't reach for his shoulder, winces with one hand at his head as he sort of is swinging around. The 23 damage, he's near critical. He's pretty fucked up. Which brings us to our giants, A, B, and C. A is going to swing at Goldbrand because he's right in front of him.
Give it.
One of those is a nat 20. The other one's a 19. It's the same one that got a nat 20 last time. Damn.
Yeah.
All right. Where's my
We can
D10?
melt
There's
those
the D10.
dice Just putting that out there.
You can. They're metal. You can. You can reforge them. Oh, plus. And it's double dice too. 47 points of bludgeoning damage.
Cut to 20.
Cut to 23. Yeah. Woo! You're lucky you healed, because that would have put you in single digits, I think.
Would like to use my reaction to use my thingamabob.
Your stone skin.
Nope.
No, I've already used my stone skin. This is I'm not gonna say the feat because the feat is not actually the I took a feat that I don't actually like the way.
Just tell him what happens.
So Goldbrand, when he hits him, Goldbrand snarls and I'm changing this a little bit from what we discussed. He reaches out and makes a fist, and you guys watch as behind the giant this black ball that looks like space without any stars coalesces and then shrinks into a tiny dot, and it's almost like gravity drags the giant back towards it. I hope.
Did you just summon a black hole?
Sort of. That's kind of a good way to think about it. He has to make a DC 14 strength saving.
Can we call it Goldbrand's black hole?
Just stop it. DC 14?
Yeah, it's not great. It may not work.
Well, hang on. He rolled shit. Let me see what he gets to add to it. Hill Giant
4.
Strength plus 5. A 12. He fails. So
sucks.
He's pulled 5 feet or 10?
10 feet back towards this black hole that Goldbrand's made. It does 2d8. What kind of damage? Force damage. So that's 7 damage total.
Solid. You guys watch as Goldbrand, upon being hit by this, holds up a hand almost as if to stop the club, but instead clenches his fist as this black hole opens up and pulls the giant back. The giant, startled, looking around confused, and as this suction and pressure just pulls him back. He is now bloodied. This one down here is no longer blinded. He's still going to swing at Davos because you're front and center, my dude. Ooh, one of those is an 18. Plus 8, which is 26. So you...
It might hit.
It might hit. I love the cockiness. So you take... Oh, God. 22 points of bludgeoning damage. And the third giant continues to run. Goldbrand, you get an opportunity attack. You don't have... Oh, no, you used your reaction just now. You do not have an opportunity attack.
Yeah, that's true.
You do... You don't have Sentinel, do you?
No.
Okay. So the giant goes over to this wall. He grabs onto the lever and pulls it down. And the portcullis opens up. And from within, you watch as 2 wolves, but not wolves, 2 dire wolves step out of the pen and have joined initiative.
Goldbrand does a lot of cursing and balthing.
Oh.
Hey, wait a second. He can't move, right?
Why can't
Stunned?
you move? Oh, you are right, Devin Green. Oh, thank you for that. Oh. Woo! Y'all know what's coming if he does.
Hey guys, I got a feeling, there might be a couple of wolves in the next room.
Just maybe.
We knew they had doggies, says Herk, but...
Says Herk, yeah. Alright, just talk for my NPCs then. Fine, whatever. I don't care.
You called them doggies earlier. Fuck
no,
you.
Yeah. But no, he says Herk. You're saying it like he's saying it now.
I see.
The 2 bugbears.
Too bad we're a bunch of cuddle hobos. They're gonna be our new pets.
Oh, hobos. Is this the Sharn Barn all over again? 1, 2, 3.
That
4,
was what
5.
it was called. The
Sharn
Sharn Barn. I've
Barn,
been trying to
yeah.
remember that for weeks.
Odin and Luna, man. I never forget a pet. Alright, the 2 bugbears come in and they are gonna fire off with their javelins. Goldbrand, you're kind of the only one they have a clear shot at.
They can fucking try.
A 21 and an 18. So yeah, they tried.
Dude, just putting it out there, we can melt those dice.
You're lucky they don't do a whole hell of a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm.
7 damage total between the two of them.
So 3.
Correct. That hill giant, I think, is dead. No, excuse me. It's B that's dead. It came back when I redid the list. All right. So that brings us to the hobgoblin, who's also going to come in. He's going to jump off of the bench and onto the tabletop. He's going to try to get a shot at Tyri. Herb Gerblin. An 8 does not hit, so he's good there. Talabund, your move, my dude.
Yeah, that green guy cannot make it to that door. So, yeah, I'm gonna use both attacks on him.
Get him. Both hit. Roll damage. He is stunned, actually, so you have advantage. Roll again just to see if you get an at 20. 2 more times.
Wait, I'm also gonna add that.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, I don't think he's within 5 feet of Goldbrand, but we'll allow it.
Well, you said I had advantage.
That was.
Oh, because that's right, because
stun.
he gets it from one either way.
Mm-hmm.
Roll one more to hit for me.
Was that like a bonus attack or so
well,
they both get advantage?
All of your hits, all 3 of them. So you get to roll
Okay,
3 more
word.
20s just to see if you get the nat 20 out of it. You don't get to roll the damage for those 3.
The damage. Okay, yeah. It was just the first one's in plus sneak attack.
Gotcha. Well, you... Okay, I'm sorry. I got you now. 10, 18... Okay, to green. Whoopsie daisy, that's not right. There we go. All right. He's looking pretty fucked up. At the top of the initiative, Herk comes out 5, 10, 15, 20. Or I'm sorry, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Gets just close enough to where he's also going to make a swing on that big fucker. He goes with 2 swings with his great club. I'm real sorry about this! But roll shit. A 12 and a 13. The second one meets. So he is going to do 2d10.
I just pictured for some reason like the water boy going in for a tackle.
16 points of damage. Officially pushing that one into critical territory. Davos, your move, my dude. I think we can wrap this up in this round.
Gonna
Most of them
try.
are pretty fucking hurt.
Gonna do some green glowing blade.
I'm going to put a blue dot on the friendly Herc.
It should be okay. I guess that's damage. Sorry.
Go ahead, my dude.
At our spot.
Yeah. Roll your rapier
attacking
damage.
The
Arjun?
giant. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Go ahead and roll rapier damage. So 8 solid. So you watch as this green flame envelops Davos's sword, and he pulls it back as this creature is just sort of swinging wildly, trying to hit Tyri, trying to hit him. The ogre beside him trying to claw at Bergen and him, and he waits for just the right moment. And as the giant raises up its club, he runs the green wreathed blade through his armpit and into his heart. And you watch as the giant stops in shock and looks down just as Goldbrand pulls out. And you watch while he pulls his rapier out, the green glow from inside stays, and you watch as he's literally burned up from the inside, and this giant staggers back and then falls back on the table behind him. All right. Bonus action. I guess that is your action. Bonus action. Any move?
The ogre took 5 points of damage, but it should be 7 with my spell casting ability modifier.
Solid.
The yellow one.
Yeah. Yellow still looks in pretty good shape.
Let's see. That's it.
Okay. Bergin. Taliban for Bergen? Yeah,
Yeah, it's me. Sorry.
you're good.
Let's see. How close is everybody? We got 1, 2, 3. We got 1, 2, 3. Okay, Bergen will. Let's cast Bless, the second level
Oh,
on
solid.
Tali, Goldbrand, and Davos.
Sweet. Okay. Tali, Goldbrand, and Davos. All of you are going to get a little marker for this so I can help remember. Boop.
Attack
Goldbrand.
roll or
Or
saving
ability
throws.
check. Oh,
okay.
correct. I thought it was. Yeah, I thought it was ability checks too. But you said
Mhm.
Tali, Goldbrand, and Davos. Is that right?
Correct.
All right.
That's one of the most
Um,
underused spells in 5e.
So
D4 to
fucking good.
attack rolls? Yikes.
Mm-hmm.
That's solid.
And then Spiritual Weapon will do its thing. It does a 15 hit on our red fellow.
15 does hit on red. 15 on red. Let it ride. 10 damage.
Oof. I don't even know the name
And
of that game.
so 18 to
You
him.
should.
No,
Let
it's
it ride.
roulette.
Yeah.
It's roulette. I'm dumb. I want to play craps. You should all come so we can play craps.
I love
Yeah.
craps.
I've never actually get to play. I would love to play.
Devin wants us to come and play in crap. I don't know what that's about.
Harrah's is
about it.
15 minutes from my house.
You're not wrong.
Y'all have a casino up there?
And
North
it's technically
Carolina.
North Carolina, but it's close enough.
Yeah, 15 minutes from my house. 20 minutes from my house.
Don't
don't
tell my
live in
father-in-law that. Tyri.
Gus?
Oh yeah, got a big
we're
gambling problem.
gonna
We'll talk about that.
attack the ogre
Get him.
and miss.
Oh,
But she
even
does
with
run
the.
up to him.
Well, he gets to add an 8 to that. He hits.
She adds a 7 to the hit, 11.
That still hits. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking
Okay.
at Galvin's. You're right. But no, that still hits.
Okay. All right. 2d6 plus 4 for 10 damage.
Bada
She
boom.
does move. I can't move her.
Yeah, boom, boom. We'll put her. We'll say she's trying to get a little closer to Gold right now that the action's sort of drifting to the north part of the room. And that brings us to Guh. Guh. You watch as she reaches down, grasps around, can't find a club besides the one that she wants to keep for melee, can't find any large objects, and she grabs the bugbear and swings back and chucks it at you. We're gonna say
The
she's
one next to her?
the one next to her. We're gonna say she's aiming for Tyri since Tyri's dead center. Or no, seeing Herk come in and fight with you, she is furious.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And she is gonna chuck the bugbear at him. Oh yeah. Oh, she didn't have advantage on that. But either way, she hits. Whew. Damage for a bugbear. I feel like it would be less than the boulder, but he is going to take 12 bludgeoning damage. Loop doop doop.
The
As the-
bugbear as well, too, huh?
The bugbear is going to take some fall damage, but not quite as much as he did. Yeah, he takes a bit, but not a whole hell of a lot. Granted, these are obviously less sturdy than the orcs and the ogres. So that does. He's a little roughed up and kind of stunned from his throw, but he's now in the middle of the battlefield on this end. That brings us to Ogre C, which I think is our last remaining. That one is going to go. He's not blinded anymore because Davos just took his turn. Correct?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Okay. And he is going to go with a swing. We'll say he tries to swing Tyri since she seems to be running by. Only gets one hit. A nat 1.
That's like
He
two
rolled
nat
an
ones
even
for that
number.
fucker.
Yeah, he's having a bad day. I think one of those was because he had disadvantage, but all right, so he does not hit an ally because he rolled an even number, but he goes to swing, and again, like while he's getting his sight
Falls
back,
in
it's
the
still the pit is blocked. I'll say that his foot falls through it, and he is technically prone. Merry Christmas.
Yes.
We'll give you some fun. All right, and that brings us to Zat.
I fuck Zad over a little bit because it would give him disadvantage to shoot at it.
There's other stuff.
Yeah,
plenty other
that's-
things to shoot.
Can Zat hit the green giant?
He can. Green giant.
I think since Herk is helping us with that, Zat's gonna go ahead and start shooting on the red one. I like to think that he like kind of hides himself behind Bergen's shield.
Okay. And it's
And
hitting which one? The
starts-
red one?
The red one, yeah.
Okay, fire away.
And starts trying to blast the red one. Ooh.
Both of those hit. 12, 21. Ooh, yeah. That one's now in the critical territory. Bonus action? You can use your ice thing.
I can use the ice thing, but the save, I'm gonna go ahead and use it, I guess, but the save isn't really helpful. It's a con save. Let me find it so I can frost shot. So I can put it in there for you to see.
Yeah. Okay, so add a d6, and then I'll roll the con save.
There's the d6.
We get to add a good bit plus 4. You got a 17, so that does not pass. But, and this is to the red one, excuse me, not to the green one.
Mm-hmm.
That does deal
Here's
a
the red
little
one.
extra off the top. All right, with that, we go to Goldbrand.
So
everyone-
Goldbrand,
All the enemies are looking in really rough shape. Surprisingly,
running like a
surprisingly, the yellow orc is okay-ish. And then the two in the far back haven't been hit yet, but everyone else is pretty bloodied. These two over here. I mean.
Goldbrand, groaning like a madman after Zatari's bullets tear into this fucking giant, is going to be like, I tries to fucking tells yous, and he's going to swing at it twice. He gets to add d4s to these, technically.
Yep, each one.
To the attack, right? Yeah.
Yes, to the attack. Both of those hit.
Both of those hit.
Right?
Yep, roll damage.
So that's a 14 damage and a
I'm-
6-7 damage.
Oh. What are you doing for your bonus action? Just tell me before you do it.
Throwing a javelin. It won't be at him because it
roll to hit. Roll to hit.
Oh, I technically can't hit him without moving towards him.
Just roll to hit.
So. I mean, I will.
Just roll to hit. Damn it, shit.
All right. You don't even have to roll damage for it. You watch as Goldbrand, laughing
see it.
maniacally like a madman, shouting in giant, which all of you understand and hear very clearly. He takes his axe and sinks it into the first one, and then the first one falls to its knees. He jerks the axe free and swings it into the other one as he blasts off another javelin from his hand, and both of these giants go down. Bravo.
Screaming at the sky more than anything, he
Damn.
goes, "That's counts for two's rocks!"
Tyri behind you will go, fair enough. Witness, Starkeeper. Or I witness you, Starkeeper.
Flexes. He's too tired to say anything.
That brings us to Ghalvan. Just to help you revisualize.
Oh wow, he misses. I
Uh,
was gonna say to the bugbear.
to the bugbear, yeah, both of those would miss. Yeah, because he would have disadvantage on the orc, so yeah, we'll say that. Alright, so that brings us to Hill Giant A, which I think... Oh, all the giants are dead, except for Guh. Okay. This battle just very quickly changed around. Blur. This one up here is going to try to go... He's seeing you tear down the giants, is not eager to fight you, is not eager to fight Herk. He's going to go and try to get on a swing on Tyri. Bugbears, do they get 2? They do get 2. He takes his Morning Star out. Oh, and he hits both of those. So that's like a 21 and a 23.
Oh, just barely.
So, that's not true.
I tried.
18 points. Yeah, sorry,
Alright.
had to do math. 18 points to her. She is now at 11 hit points.
That's
Um,
what I got.
The second bugbear is going to come forward. 1, 2, 3. He's going to fire off a javelin toward Davos. Bugbear. A 14 does not hit, so you're good there. That brings us to Hill Giant C, who is dead. That brings us to the Hobgoblin. Hobgoblin, likewise. 1. That's technically a 20-foot jump. He's just going to come to the corner of this, and he's going to aim for Bergen. Oh, a 16 plus... The hobby boys get to add a 20, dirty 20. 4. 8 piercing damage. to Bergine. Taliban, back to you.
Wheat.
Getting toward the end of this.
Yeah, it's looking like a couple graceful cuts, and we'll be moving on. You get out of the way, kitty. There's just no time for that. Okay, quit that. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Cat messing with stuff. 1 and 2. This is directed at the remaining giant.
There's no giants left except for Guh.
Oh,
the blue
that's
giant
Herk.
is Herk, yeah.
This is for little yellow bugbear.
He is technically prone, so you would have disadvantage, but if we count both of those hit.
Okay.
So you can roll 2 more for your bonus action.
Yeah,
What?
the yellow is an ogre.
Oh.
He's prone.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to see right under Goldbrand's thing. But...
Red is the bugbear, if that's what you're going for.
Yeah, I was looking for the bugbear, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. So yeah, both of
The
those
red,
hit.
yeah.
Roll damage. You watch as Tali throws the Kai Karim, and pierces through the bugbear, and the bugbear like already dazed from its being thrown across the room, having just tried to swing on Tyri, again just like freezes up, blood from its tear duct. That's on the inside of your eye, Joey. Blood from its tear duct. A little bit of blood from the ear, a little bit of blood from the mouth as it falls over. And the additional 18 damage, we're going to say, goes over to the other one, who is pinned to the ground. And after you hit it, it's in a really rough shape. He's starting to look panicky. Anything else for you, my dude?
That'll be it.
At the top of the round, nothing happens. Davos.
The guy's over here like, the fuck?
Yeah, Gut's starting to get a little panicky. You've killed all of her mates, and she sees one has betrayed her. She's pretty salty.
Yeah. I'm gonna an oldie but a goodie.
Suspicious mockery?
Ooh.
Oh, no, classic. All right, who are you going for?
I'm gonna go for this Far, Hobgoblin, and Bugbear. I think it says Ascending Order, 5d8s.
Gotcha. Go ahead and roll that, my dude.
I think I
16.
killed the Hobgoblin.
2
maybe.
1s and that sucks.
That does suck. It'll work on the bugbear, but not the hobgoblin.
Okay. And
So,
if I had to move, I would.
it's 90 feet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, you're good. The bugbear does fall to its feet though, unconscious, or fall to the floor.
Sweet.
Bonus action.
Nah, I got nothing.
Okay. Any movement?
Yeah, I'm gonna go maybe on the other side over here.
Gotcha. That brings us to Bergine, Senor Desmond.
We.
You see me stumbling, pretty bloody past you.
Is that so?
But
Zatari will
I
say
don't know,
something smart
I feel
along
like-
the lines of, first time bareback, huh?
I think the fight might be closing, so if we could
Yeah.
just maybe end it sooner, I think that might be alright. You got that
Yeah.
spiritual weapon.
We can do
This
it.
is true.
Goldbrand wouldn't say anything, but you could see that he's not looking great. He's probably critical.
What do
I
you?
don't do
How about we do this? What are your intentions for Guh?
To cut her head off.
Okay, just kill her right away.
Maybe. I mean, is
We'll
she gonna be
talk
in
a
any
little
condition to question? Like, she keeps throwing shit. I guess when she runs out of shit to throw.
She is sitting on like a mound of she's in a wagon that has stuff just literally packed up around the sides of it, and it has stuff just laying on her. Imagine my 600-pound life meets hoarders just crammed in together. It's revolting.
Yeah.
But she's got a plethora of stuff. Doesn't all mean it's great stuff to throw, but she's got plenty of junk around her.
But we killed pretty much everybody else.
You've still
Yeah.
technically got 3, but if your intention is to kill Guh, we'll fast forward through something.
I would say by the end of it, yeah, we're not gonna allow her to live. Is my assumption.
Yeah. I mean,
I
feel like that's a bridge we would cross when we got there.
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
he can't really speak for Bergen on that
Ha-
point. He might can speak for Tali.
Well, no, I was asking you all of you in general, like what you're.
Oh, Goldbrand wants to kill her.
I want the conch.
with
And
the
if we have
conch.
to kill her to get it, then for sure.
Ye-
if
well,
So
yeah.
so we'll do this.
He'll give it up.
You watch as the main chaos from this battle sort of dies down, and now instead of several towering figures, there's one that's half falling through the floor. There's one that's unconscious. There's one that's very nervously looking at Guh from across the room. And Ghalvan takes a step forward, and he hisses in Draconic, which Tali understands. No one else. And
Damn it.
he says, "The Emerald Dragon beckons you closer," and he curls his fingers, and you watch as this massive form like jerks a bit, and she looks around startled, and she rolls head over heels until her feet plunge into this large hole, and as they hit the wooden braces, shatter them, and her form, immense and massive, 30 feet across perhaps, stops in this hole, and she is helplessly stuck within this space. The remaining hobgoblin looks over at you guys and bolts. The unconscious bugbear is still unconscious. This guy is still pinned, but close enough to death to where we say you dispatch both of them quickly. So now you stand
Another
before.
Kyrie ball.
Yeah. You just kick him through the grate till he falls and dies. You now stand before the trapped Guh, and behind her, on the wagon, you see, in the pile of refuse, a perfectly pristine seashell. And that, so we're gonna go ahead and call it a night.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Wait.
We'll interact with that next week, and this way you can properly question and don't feel like you have to be rushed.
So, full disclosure to the group, Goldbrand is just gonna walk up and cut her fucking throat. So
You can try.
you know.
Like, there's a lot of.
If he can
Which of
find
her
it,
chins is her throat hiding under?
You got a
So be
two-man
prepared
saw.
to jump in with I grab Goldbrand's arm or whatever, because that's what you know.
I think,
Devin
yeah,
won't be mad, but that's what Goldbrand's gonna do.
Um,
He's gonna think about it for a second, but then he's gonna go kill that bitch.
Depending on your survival rolls versus her neck DC or whatever the fuck, I think we have a little bit of time.
It's less of a slitting and more of a sawing kind of motion. Like,
Yeah.
The
I mean,
picture is
imagine-
like chopping a tree with his axe. He's just like, doof.
have you ever?
No way.
Dude.
This is like trying to cut through silly putty.
That's fair though.
It's gonna absorb your hand.
You ever had a really rotten log that when you're trying to like split it, like with a hand axe,
It's like-
it doesn't split. It just kind of breaks apart and like you don't get a clean cut. It's kind of like that. It's pretty. Also,
Full
now that she's gone,
disclosure.
you can see I hate it when they put like enemies on the map, actual map, because it's, I don't know. A, that looks tiny and dumb and just weird.
Is
And
her
B,
picture on there?
yeah, if you can see here, there's the wagon, and this little looks like a dried up old radish is supposed to be Guh,
Interesting.
but it barely has her in a 10 by 10 space, so it's like, that's not a huge creature. This thick mama over here is a huge creature.
I
mean,
mean, she technically
I don't
takes
have
up
to-
4 squares. Like she's supposed to take up 9.
She's
isn't
huge,
she?
yeah, she's 3 by 3. So in this, it would be almost 2 by 2 squares. We exaggerate a little bit just so you guys get an idea of the scale, but
I mean, I got another 30 minutes. I ain't going anywhere.
I probably gotta get off.
okay.
Oh, you
That's
mother-
about to say it's pretty late.
You're late.
God, I hope my wife's not late. Don't say that.
Oh god.
So as we were, congratulations, you guys have cleared for the most part the first giant
Without
temple?
going down.
Dungeon.
dungeon. Thank you. I was looking for something to their abode, but nothing was quite coming to me. The first den of the Hill
Stronghold?
Giants. Not quite a stronghold, but pretty close.
Same.
With-
No one dropped. I thought Goldbrand was going down for a second.
Yeah, I
That
was
interesting.
expecting. Yeah, because I mean, if they would have got the wolves out, I think it might have been a little harder just to keep up with the action economy. Because the wolves have pack tactics, and I think multi-attack. So they would have been tearing some shit up. But with that, my dudes, be safe. Love you guys. Take care of yourselves. And is it Friday yet?
See you next week.
Deuces.